and welcome to the Yeerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are the
Yeerky Boys. I was too early. I know I was too early. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's so hard for me to tell. I feel like we have more delay than usual, actually.
We might. Look, we've
Just
had
from the intro.
Technical issues happening this week. Our recording has changed. Last week we were in person. Every week there's something going wrong. It feels like there are Yeerks trying to stop us from telling you the truth.
I think it's Andalites, since we are the Yeerky Boys.
Yeah, you're right. Those motherfuckers. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Andalite scum, filth.
Andalite filth. Ooh, it makes my lip curl just thinking about him.
Yeah, sneering.
I'm so damn mad. Anyway, we should probably do all of our episodes in person because I think last week's was our best one yet, and this is going to be a big step down.
Yeah, that's a smart idea. I'll just come over every single week.
Why not? Yeah, it'll be easy.
Yeah, the worst thing that could happen is that I decide that I hate you and we kill each other.
Yeah, well, you'll just come over, we'll record, and then you will leave.
I don't know if I can do that.
Well, we'll let the listeners decide.
I'm a bit too annoying for that.
Listeners, email us, theyeerkyboys@gmail.com.
Right, please. We're begging you.
Or
somebody acknowledge us.
Tweet at us at the Yeerky Boys. Okay, please begin the show.
Yeah, this week we're talking about The Capture Book 6, where Jake turns into a fly. I don't, we at the beginning of the show, we like to do any corrections or holdovers from last book. I don't have any of those this week. I don't know if you do.
No, I think I stopped having those. Good. I think we're done with those.
Okay, we don't need to do those ever again. Good. Yeah, so we can talk.
I did have one.
Oh, yeah. Go for it.
Well, I was going to save it for the end of the show, but maybe you're right. Maybe we should just get it out of the way up front.
We can do it. If it's better at the end, we can do it at the end.
Well, I wasn't sure if it should be in the sharing section because it was but you've shared some of your sharings from IRL at the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I mean, if it's important to what happened in the last book, but not really to this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really important to any book.
Yeah, just do it right now then, before we talk about anything.
Yeah, okay. Well, one of our listeners who unfortunately, he took the next step. Instead of just saying something to us in real life, he tweeted our account.
I saw that.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to clarify because I just want to make sure people know. Last episode, we made a joke about 47 in a row referencing Clerks. I know the number is 37. It's just that 47 is close enough that my brain wanted to make the joke anyway.
Yeah, no, of course. Listen, every single person in the world who listened to that episode, except for this one guy, got that, and they understood, and it wasn't a problem.
Okay, as long as we're all on the same page now, then that's it. That was the one thing.
There was only the one guy who wasn't on the same page, and you set him straight on Twitter, I believe.
Yeah, I told him he was a piece of shit and he should go kill himself.
Right. You can't say that. That's offensive.
What? I'm a Yeerk. Oh, I'm a bad boy.
That's right. We're bad
What's
boys
up?
on this podcast.
Oh, you don't like it, listeners? Oh, you can't handle the Yeerk? Well, then listen to something else. Tweet at me if you're so sensitive, all you liberal Andalites.
Whoa.
Well,
you're getting political right now.
This is how you get listeners. You got to generate controversy.
That's true. That's when people get mad at you, that's the best way to farm engagement.
Do you think Joe Rogan is a controller?
Whoa. Boy, if Joe Rogan's a controller, then all is lost. They're at the highest echelons of podcasting society.
They talk about the media. We'll get to that part. All right. Now that we have officially, we can start the show because we've done our mandatory 10 minutes of complete bullshit.
Right. Now we can talk about this book. So, I mean, right away I want to say, like, the blurb about the book on the back and the little whatever it is, the quote, the thing on the cover, the little phrase, they all just kind of give away the main kind of conceit that happens at in like the back third of this book. So I almost feel like you should just talk about that right up front. I don't know how you feel about that.
Wow. So I have to say, I did not, because I'm using ebooks and I do have a picture of the
Mm.
cover, but I did not even read that quote until just now.
Oh, okay.
So that's how good I am at avoiding spoilers.
You're really good. Yeah, it's hard to say because, like, as a kid, I already knew what was going on because this book had been out for a while. But I feel like even if you didn't, you would just be like, "Oh, something's gonna happen." Something. I
Yeah.
guess we won't. So we'll let people find out as we get there. I guess. But
Yeah, a lot of people listen to this and haven't read the book. Maybe you would
right.
just think now he's one of them means now he's a fly.
Yeah, them. Well, it could mean the ants if you ever saw that movie, Them.
Right. Well, that's confusing since I turned into Anne's last book and he's turning into a fly.
Right. They just confused their old movies, is all.
I really do not like this kid who's playing Jake on the cover. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, I have it in my notes here that I mean what it actually says in my notes is dweeb alert, because to me, I mean he looks like a serious dweeb. Not to make fun of a kid, but
It's fine. He's old now. Yeah, no, he looks stupid as hell. He's got a face like he's got a weird nose. He's got stupid ears. His eyes are stupid.
now we're
I
really
hate.
farming the engagement when people come in. I can't believe you're making fun of a kid's appearance. That's so
I hate his pose. His stance is just weird, and his expression. He's like so like, oh, I'm a little kid. I'm so dumb. And his shirt is purple, which is stupid. To be honest, he looks kind of like I did when I was a kid. So
Yeah, he does have a very 90s style to him. Like you wouldn't see anybody dressed like this outside of the 90s.
I
I
would,
don't think.
if I did, I would just stuff him in a fucking locker.
Yeah. Jake's the guy who saves you from getting stuffed in lockers, so.
Well, not, you can't save the kids. I'm way bigger than him. He's a little,
That-
he's. Well,
so
we'll
you
get to
do it
that.
right now in your 30s. You'd be
Yeah,
stuffing them.
yeah. I wouldn't do it as a kid. I'm not. I wasn't strong enough then.
That
You
makes sense.
you wait until you're out of high school, and then you can beat up those kids.
That makes a lot of sense.
Anyway,
Uh,
great cover.
yeah, great cover. And then on the inside, it says Superfly. I don't know if that's a reference to Superman or if that's a reference to Weird Al's hit song Albuquerque.
That's
But
what you went with.
yeah, that's what I went with.
Like Seropedia seems to think it's a Superman reference, which it probably is, but I feel like you can't. I don't know.
Albuquerque postdates this anyway.
Well,
But
I don't. There's also Superfly. Okay, it doesn't matter.
listen,
I bet Marco is a big Weird Al head, though.
he probably is. Yeah,
No, I mean, no doubt, no
yeah,
doubt.
yeah.
I bet, and I think Rachel's into No Doubt. So
That would
anyway,
make sense. Yeah. There we might get some musical references that are pretty
oh
iconic,
yeah,
having to do with Cassie in a
oh
later book, but
yeah. Oh,
one that gets referenced all the time.
I want to say I really like the inside picture where he's the fly in the barn.
Mm-hmm.
There's a horse in the background.
Ooh, I don't remember this horse.
You just see its head peeking out from
Oh,
behind the
yes.
stable. It's
That's
it's kind of
good.
it's just creeping on Jake as a fly. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's a little bonus horse
I don't
for
like
you.
him. That's one of Cassie's horses.
Yeah,
I
she's
wonder if we ever
probably.
learn her horses' names.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're named after the cast of Frasier. I don't know.
Whatever
That horse.
show Kay Applegate liked watching.
That horse is Daphne. Okay.
We'll watch for what sitcoms Cassie's parents like. I'm sure that'll pop up somewhere, and then we can just speculate.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm in a little bit of a mood today, so get ready for this podcast.
Oh boy. Oh
Things
no.
might get wacky.
You and your moods.
Also, we can overlap each other now in the way we couldn't with our previous recording setup. So I can keep talking and not worry about interrupting you and cutting off the audio. So that's fun.
Oh, is that how it worked before?
Yeah, there was some that was sort of one of the trade-offs of
Mm,
that service, but now we're doing our own recording separately, so you will always be heard.
excellent. Wonderful.
All right. So
Uh,
anyway, is there a book here to discuss, or is that
there
it?
is a book here to discuss. Now, right at the beginning, we get our intro, and Jake starts off once again, like last book, saying, like, well, I've changed the names of some people and places, and da 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 da. Yeah, I think it's a little late for that, bucko. But
I did want to point out, I know. Oh wait, you're gonna
yeah,
do
go.
the whole, but I
No, no,
but
no.
because you brought up this first part, I highlighted this because I think this is the first book where he specifically said he's changed the names of place. I mean, they'll usually say like I don't
Mm,
say what my town is or
mm.
whatever, but that makes me go, oh, maybe all those street names I'm making fun of are technically changed, and that's
Yeah,
their
that could be too. Again, it
yeah.
doesn't fucking matter, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I guarantee you can geolocate where I grew up from this podcast alone. It's not that hard.
Yeah, well, it's because you're always talking about water ice.
Hey, don't give the game away.
Well, water ice is popular in a lot of regions.
You're right. You're right. Uh, but I guess we can actually start the book maybe
Yeah, we
if you
did. We
want.
just did.
Oh, good. Okay. Uh, first scene. Tom is leaving for a meeting of the sharing, and Jake is going to have the house to himself. So he decides to stay home and test out a cockroach morph to see how it controls, how it sees and hears all of that. And at first, everything's easy, but then his parents have come home early. Surprise, surprise. They come into his room and turn on the light. They see a pile of clothes there because he's already morphed. Cockroach Brain freaks out and he runs into the wall. Uh, After regaining control, he thinks, okay, I'll just go to the garage to demorph, but instead, he goes behind his fridge and gets stuck in a roach motel, which I don't know if they have those anymore, but those are an old school, like, roach trap, like glue trap. So he demorphs behind the fridge. His mom catches him back there being a little weirdo crouched behind the fridge. Haha, funny. That's our little opener, our slam opener, where they're, doing their first morph.
Yeah. Yeah, which I have to say, in previous books we've had kids getting shot at by drunks. We've had insane live commercial interrupted with bird
Yeah,
attacks. What was the last one? What was the predator?
Marco saving the guy in the
Oh yeah,
alleyway.
yeah, a gorilla throwing a dumpster, just the craziest shit you can imagine. And here it's just like, I just turned into a little bug. It's like
Yeah.
so.
Oh well. Yeah. No. The worst thing that happens is his parents are home. Uh-oh, they could find him. They find him hiding behind the fridge. You
That
gotta
was really
wonder
funny.
when your parents are walking in on you and they see you not like fully dressed properly, hiding behind the fridge when you thought you were home alone and they came home early. Did they think he was like jacking
Yes.
off like some kind of weird pervo or something?
Yeah. Well, he's 13. They're just like, yeah, yeah, boys will be boys and try to fuck the refrigerator. What are you gonna do?
Behind the fridge? I don't.
Yeah. No, he's like, there's like this little spot between the fridge and the wall. That's what you do.
Yeah, just shove the fridge out and squeeze behind it.
I gotta say, it was starting this book. It was kind of nice being back with Jake again,
Hmm.
our old
I don't
friend.
know.
What? You
I,
don't agree?
I've been just kind of starting to feel in this book that Jake's maybe a little bit more boring than I usually think of him.
But he's the kind of like maybe the leader, kind of,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
everyone likes to say. He's
No,
maybe
he
the
is.
leader.
I felt like the exposition was starting to grate on me again. Like the first couple books, it's fine, but getting into this one, this is where I started being like, okay, there's too much of this, and I was wondering if maybe uh, part of it was because Jake is just less interesting about how he, you know, Marco's cracking jokes or whatever. Cassie's got her like animal things. I don't know. I feel like Jake is just a little too straightforward. Here's what a Yeerk is. Here's how morphing works. Let me describe these characters to you. You don't
Yeah,
have Marco saying, she's sincere or something.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's because I haven't read these books 40 times, but
Eh,
the exposition stuff hasn't really. It still has not bothered me yet.
okay, okay.
I've
Well,
been I've
that's
been okay
good
with
so
it.
far.
Um,
Good
I,
so far.
so we get a little bit into problematic territory here as we
Mm-hmm.
find out that Jake's brother Tom likes to call him midget.
Mm-hmm. And he does it multiple times through the book, and I think it is a running thing. I I believe it will come back in other Jake books, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, it is. It's certainly in the '90s, and even today, it's not unheard of. It makes sense that an older brother would use a problematic term. So, and
Yeah,
this term, to be clear, I mean, the usage of it is problematic here, but at the time, midget wasn't like considered, or at least nobody knew it
yeah,
wasn't right.
yeah.
So
Us cis
we're
straight white
enlightened
guys
now.
who were children were not aware of it being problematic at the time.
Yeah, right. I don't. But
Yeah,
come on. I mean, Weird Al says midget in some of his songs, so like
yeah,
that should tell you the level we're working with, and also the fact that I still am willing to say that word out loud, and I'm not afraid I'll get canceled for it. So
yes. That also
that tells
says
you a
something
lot.
there. Yeah,
It tells
yeah, for
tells you a
sure.
lot.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, but also on the potentially, kind of edgy uh, factor here. Jake has a thought here where Tom says, "Oh, you should come join us at the sharing," and Jake thinks, like when hell freezes over, which
Mm.
this is a book aimed at kids, right?
Yeah, actually there were at least once, I think maybe two other times in books that I think I even maybe noted it, but just we didn't get the chance to bring it up where they said hell before.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I
that might
did
be.
notice that and think, oh hey, they said the H word.
Yeah,
That's good. That's cool. That's pretty
double
cool.
hockey sticks and all.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah. So he turns into this cockroach right away. This book is disgusting.
Yeah,
Uh,
lots
uh,
of gross bug imagery. Lots of. I actually really liked. Well, actually, you know what? Say what you were gonna say.
yeah. Well, I just want to talk about the cockroach for a while.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
First of all, the fact he describes it as brown and glossy and about an inch long, and I was like, "Hey, are they describing my dick?"
Ah,
Um,
he is. That's not that far off from how I always pictured Yeerks as a kid, and now I have to
oh
keep being confronted with the fact that they're 6 inches long. But
yeah, I thought you were gonna say it's not far off from how you pictured my dick.
oh, I don't have to picture it.
By the way, I don't know if that was confusing. I am white, just so people know. I'm not
I
brown.
think we've said that like 100 times.
Yeah, I think the idea is just that maybe my dick is just really dirty.
Or like shriveled, like a Habsburg penis or something.
No, no one, no one is listening to this, right? It's okay that I say this stuff.
I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Also, I mean, I don't know. I just think that I should. There's something that I should say. I feel like
Sure.
as he describes the cockroach morph, he says it feels like falling as he's like shrinking, which is pretty scary. And just the whole thing, honestly, overall, to me, and people you can disagree or people can write in and say what they think, but to me, the whole thing feels sort of Kafka-esque.
In what way would you say?
Oh, well, just the whole like I feel like the Kafka of it all really
Hmm.
comes through from this scene and a few later scenes too, specifically the roach morphing scenes. They just evoke a very Kafka-esque kind of energy to me.
Oh wow, that's you're quite a literary man. I had not thought to make that connection.
Well, that's yeah. I think see that's sort of why you read these Animorphs books, but I read a lot of other literature.
Right, right. Yeah, that's
That's what I'm
true.
bringing to this is my my interest in Kafka, and also I know about Chekhov's gun. So
Wow. I wonder if we'll see
check
one of those in this book
check
too.
Chekhov's handheld Dracon beam.
Is Chekhov a Hork-Bajir name?
Yeah, it's probably. I think it is. I
I
think
mean,
it
this
is.
this just tells you the difference in our literary levels because I was thinking about all the little environmental details that they go into here, which we didn't really get as much of with like the answer the shrew. We got some, but here we spend a lot of time talking about like the fibers of the carpet or the pipes in the wall and stuff, and in a way that we haven't really since the first lizard. And I was getting kind of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids vibes.
Mm.
But that's where we are. You're on Kafka and the Metamorphosis, and I'm over on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, directed by Joe Johnston.
Oh, look at that! You're a buff.
Yeah, what can I say? From.
Yeah, everyone will get that.
Yeah, at least one of our listeners will is going nuts right now.
That's good. There's only two I care about, so
yeah. Is it
yeah.
okay? Okay, yeah.
Whatever.
So
Yeah,
it's gross.
yeah. It is. It is quite gross. They go all in on the imagery here. Um, but when he's done morphing a cockroach and doing all this junk, they all meet up in the barn. As usual, we find out that Jake is practicing this roach morph in preparation for an infiltration because he has been spying on Tom and he's discovered that Tom is really important. He's been rising up through the ranks very quickly. And Tom has been calling a lot of doctors at a hospital, this new hospital that's going to open up. And so, they're afraid, oh, they're going to make a Yeerk hospital where they infest people when they, I don't know, like they put you under for whatever procedure and bam, infested or whatever they're going to do. So the point is they're going to go into a sharing meeting and infiltrate it as cockroaches and learn about this plan so they can figure stuff out. But Jake wanted to test things out rather than just running in like they always do without testing, which was probably a good idea for once.
Yeah. Although they get mad at him.
Yeah, it's a little yeah, right? Like that's the formula. They always have to get mad, but like this time he didn't do anything wrong, so it is a little odd, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's really Cassie is just worried about him. That's
Yeah.
most of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly Cassie doing the lecturing. Cassie cares about him. They're sort of in a relationship, though they don't ever say that they're in a relationship here.
Yeah,
They're like
it's a big secret.
Yeah, they're like pseudo dating. They're kids. I don't know. Now, when Cassie's lecturing and Marco is all like, "Uh-oh, Jake's in trouble."
That's pretty funny.
Our little Marco line from here.
Yeah, that's you always got to have a few Marco zingers.
Yeah, yeah. And when Jake is describing all the characters, he does talk about Rachel again and says when he's saying she's pretty, he says, "Personally, I don't think about her that way because she's my cousin." And I was thinking maybe Cassie might have had to lecture Jake about that one too.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. Although he does say she looks like some kind of blonde supermodel, but Jake's not into that sort of. He doesn't go for that.
Right? No, I mean he clearly doesn't.
He's also he describes Cassie and he says she's not one of those wimpy looking short girls, or sorry, wimpy looking. So she is short, but he's saying she's not one of those wimpy looking short girls.
Right.
She's like a tough looking short girl.
Right. That's right. He wants someone
I don't
built.
know. There's again maybe a bit of heightism in this book. I don't know. Actually, I'm going to bring that up again later. But
Jake's a man's man. What can he say?
Oh, and
he likes what he likes.
This is important, I think, right on the next page or so. I don't know, depending on what edition you're reading. Oh yeah, well he also calls Marco small right after that. So like I know
Yeah.
we know Marco has height issues, but
Yeah, yeah. He's a yeah.
he also says Cassie says a lot of the girls at school think he's cute. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Two things I am definitely not looking at: my cousin and Marco. I don't
Marco and
know.
his luscious lashes.
Yeah, his dark eyes and dark long brown hair. He also mentions that Marco refers to Rachel as Xena, warrior princess.
Yeah, this is the first time that we ever hear that, and we don't hear Marco say it, and he's never said it before, but it's going to become a running thing where he says it, and we're going to be introduced to it by just saying that he does.
That's right. We've been incepted with this information as if he just says it like, yeah. He always says that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
sort
If
of
this is the
strange.
first book you ever read as a kid, then
Yeah,
it's always
yeah.
been true.
Or if this was like the fifth book and you read some of the later ones, you'd be like, oh yeah, he does, right?
Yeah, I mean that's as a kid, that's what I'm like.
Yeah. So it almost feels like the kind of thing that she would have gone back and edited that in, but I know that that's not what happened. So it is
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
It's like a pre-Lucas edit.
It sure is. I do want to bring up here when Jake is spying on Tom, he does it by checking the redial on his home landline. Uh,
Yeah.
so this is not going to fly for all you Zoomers out there who have never experienced a landline and don't know about things like redial.
Y'all don't know about *69, do you?
Mm-hmm.
No. You don't know. Caller ID had to pay extra for that. They probably didn't even have that.
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah.
Jake probably just had to. I mean, what do you think? Do you think the doctors were like actually getting the call and being like, "Hey, it's Tom again"? I guess they wouldn't know either.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Phone technology. Did we mention the hospital yet? Did that happen?
We
Did you say
mentioned that they're
that?
gonna do a hospital, so like I
Yeah.
guess we know what hospital it was if the names were not changed.
Wait, do we? What's the name of the hospital?
I don't remember.
Oh, the Berman Clinic.
Berman Clinic, yeah.
Or that's the wing. That's not the whole hospital. I
Yes.
don't know.
We might
Berman.
not know the name of the hospital.
Kind of a Jewish name.
Whoa.
Maybe that's where Rachel was born. Okay. Um anyway,
Having fun over there?
I told you, look out for me today. We're off and running now, baby.
All right.
I just wanted to say the concept of a Yeerk hospital, which by the way, that would make a great tycoon video game, like a simulation game. You're running a Yeerk hospital tycoon. That's terrifying. That's very, very frightening. That's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I almost wish that there were more of these throughout the series because, commonly when they bring up something like this, they'll be like, oh, this is here and the Animorphs have got to stop it. So this is like the arc of the week. But it would be pretty fun if by book 30 or something, there were just like, several dozen known Yeerk installations that were just part of general infrastructure, right? This is the Yeerk hospital. Anyone who goes there is getting infested, This is whatever.
Yeah, it's just like, you have like Chinatown. that's Yeerk City.
Yeerk City over
Little
there.
Kandrona. I don't know. Since we
Little
don't know the name of any of their fucking planets. in this
Yeerk
book.
homeworld. Yeah, I mean, Kandrona is presumably the name of their son.
Yeah, from what I understand. I was a little confused about that. Again, later on, I keep teasing things, but
Okay. I mean, we've talked about Kandronas before, so.
we have. It's a more specific and stupid thing.
Okay.
We'll get to it. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah. There's a little bit more that we have to go through before we get into the main plot here, because after they're all at the barn for their regular get-together, we see a dinner scene at Jake's house, where Jake and Tom are doing some like would be playful sibling fighting, but the reader, understand that they're kind of doing this like little sparring thing where Jake's the Animorph guy and Tom's the Yeerk guy, and they're
Mm.
whatever, they do their whole thing. Tom once again tries to get Jake to go to the sharing. There's not a ton that happens in this particular scene, but there's a lot of stuff to reference, I feel like.
Mm. Yeah, what are some references you'd like to reference?
Well, the big thing here is that we once again see dumpster spelled with a capital D. And
I'm
I
glad
looked
you said it because I was gonna say it.
I looked into it.
Oh,
I'm going to quote what I found on Wikipedia.
can I tell you something? Because I have this tab open. I was ready with this
Oh,
too.
beautiful. Yeah, I have this here. It says the word dumpster, first used commercially in 1936, came from the Dempster dumpster system of mechanically loading the contents of standardized containers onto garbage trucks, which was patented by Dempster Brothers in 1935. The containers were called dumpsters, a blending of the company's name with the word dump. The Dempster Dump Master, which became the first successful front-loading garbage truck that used this system, popularized the word. The word dumpster has at least 3 trademarks associated with it by Dempster Brothers, but today it is often used as a genericized trademark. All 3 trademarks have since either been expired or canceled. So dumpster should not be capitalized
Whew.
unless it's referring to the original dumpster brand, which I was trying to find the specific trademarks because Wikipedia referenced them in like the official registry, but I was having trouble with it. So I don't know if those were expired by the 90s. But given that like they were started what 60 or 50s or 60s, and they went into at least the 70s, but maybe not that long. I have a feeling they were expired by the time these books were written, but maybe not when K.A. Applegate was growing up. Not sure.
Yeah, I see. You can find on Wikipedia the links to the trademarks, but it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't say an expiration date. It just says that it did expire.
Yeah. I could
God,
have done a deeper dive probably, but I didn't.
this is just the best fucking podcast, dude.
Everyone loves this shit.
um yeah, the thing that's weird to me, I mean, all of it is weird to me, but yes, presumably even if that trademark hadn't expired, like who
Yeah.
this implies that Kay Applegate had to have known, like, where did she see the word dumpster capitalized and realize, it's a proper name of a specific product? Like, nobody has, I don't think, ever known that besides the Dempster brothers themselves.
It did say that it wasn't until like the 70s that dumpsters became like extremely popularized. Maybe our older listeners can fill me in on this, but it's possible that dumpster was a specific brand because they were the only guys doing this kind of like large scale waste management in this particular way until like the 70s, which seems odd to me, but I don't know.
All right, well, boomers, let us know.
I know what Wikipedia says and no deeper, really.
Yeah. Well,
That's the kind of
yeah,
expertise you come here for.
you don't need to go deeper than that. Hey, the fact that we even Googled something should be
Hmm.
enough for these ungrateful pieces of shit.
That's right. Normally, you would just bullshit it.
That's right. Okay, so yeah, I mean that
Um,
was my main thing from this chapter.
okay, I mean, I also had some questions here because they order out food from Gourmet Express and Santorini's, and I have not heard of either of these. I don't know if they're real or if she made them up, and I wanted to know if you knew.
um, I feel like Santorini it must be like an LA place,
Hmm.
but if for some, in my head I was like, sounds like maybe that's maybe there's one in New York too, but there's no, but no, I don't really have any I oh, I know that place. Yeah,
Hmm.
no, these are kind of foreign to me too. Yeah, I just googled it. There's a few Santorinis. Oh, there's apparently one by me. Yeah, there's one in New
Hmm.
York. But I don't know if they're like if there's just multiple places. They're just like Greek restaurants. I don't know if it's actually a chain. I think they're just named after Greece.
Sure.
So,
I mean,
well, no,
googling it,
wait.
see
This
it.
one's Italian. What the hell is it? I don't know. It's oh no,
It
it's
sounded
Italian.
Italian, but I wasn't going to
So
question you when you
okay,
said
half
Greek.
of them are Italian, half of them are Greek Mediterranean. So are there multiple Santorinis? I don't know. I know
Wonder which one
Santorini is
they
a
got.
place in Greece. I don't know. Anyway,
Sure, sure.
does that
I mean,
answer your
this
question?
shows you I'm Wikipediaing for the capitalization of dumpster, but I'm not about to Google Santorini to see if it's real.
Well, it's like if they brought it up again in the next book, then I think you would do it.
Okay, yeah, priorities.
Yeah, like dumpster is important because that's clearly going to be a recurring issue.
Yeah, oh yeah, we don't want to have to bring it up every single time, though I might. Um,
Yeah, you got to settle it
yeah.
at some point.
The only other, yeah, I mean the only other thing I wanted to say here is there's a line where I don't even know which
God, I
one
hope
says
it's the
it, but
same line I'm looking at right now.
is it
Go on.
what's your malfunction?
Oh no, it wasn't.
It just felt like a good little bit of '90s dialogue here.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I used to have a teacher in high school who had like a catchphrase, so that's pretty fun. And her catchphrase was whenever she like said something, she would say, "Questions, comments, malfunctions."
Hmm,
That
that's a good. I like that.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 times a class, she would use that line, and it always everyone would just sit there like half dead, tired, hungry,
Yeah,
bored, upset,
that's great.
anxious.
Adults should do their best to be as lame as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I had a couple Marco-centric parts here because, first of all, fuck this Yeerk. He says there are things that are cooler than hanging out with Marco. No, there are not, Yeerk. There's nothing cooler than hanging out with
Yeah.
Marco.
Us,
Hanging out with
we
Marco
Yeerks on this
rules.
podcast appreciate Marco.
We infest Jake. We take turns just so we get to play Doom with Marco.
Imagine if you infested Marco, you could like
No,
work with him,
it's
right?
too. Oh,
You could just
maybe.
give him control sometimes. You
Oh
could
yeah,
work
yeah, yeah,
together, you
yeah.
know?
That okay? That could be good. That could be good. Also, no, I don't know if this is. Oh no, I guess this is getting into the next scene now. So I'll wait for the next scene.
I mean, yeah, sure. The next scene,
Speaking
they
of hanging
go
out with Marco.
they do. They go to Marco's new apartment. His dad has a new apartment
Oh, I
to
missed
go
that
with his new
detail.
job. Yeah, it's nicer. That's why Marco let them come over. He's not as ashamed
So,
anymore.
so one book later, his dad's already moved into a nicer place.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I can sort of see it as being like, listen, if I can keep this job, I just need to show them that I have like one actual paycheck that's reasonable. It's not like he didn't used to be a
It
productive
was the
member of
90s, I
society.
guess. Things were
That's probably
simpler
true
then.
too.
Wasn't it? I thought they had a
Hmm.
house. Were they in an apartment before?
Oh, maybe they.
I was
Well,
picturing it like a house.
in
I
the
don't
old
know.
books, he was in an apartment. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know. They might have been in a house before his mom died or didn't die.
Okay. Probably something like that.
But yeah,
Anyway.
they all go there, and Jake has had practice figuring out how to translate vibrations into speech and that sort of thing because cockroaches hear weirdly because he was sitting behind his refrigerator trying to get out of that stupid roach motel. But the others have not. So Marco, Cassie, Rachel, and Axe all morph roaches, and Jake talks at them so they can learn this sort of thing. We
Yeah.
also learn in this scene that Jake is worried about confronting Tom, um, because we there's a lot of dwelling in like the early chapters about like, am I gonna have to kill Tom? Which is Jake's like primary arc throughout the whole series. Is like, can I save Tom?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
even possible? While still stopping him, and he tells them about this dream that he's having where he's a tiger hunting his prey in the forest, and the prey is Tom. So he's hunting them. He's hunting down his own brother, and he goes in for the kill on his brother, and he leaps out, and then at the last second, cliffhanger. We'll talk about it in a later section.
Heyo. Yeah,
Heyo.
I got so caught up when I was thinking about how Kafkaesque the early part of the book was that I
Hmm.
forgot to mention this because yeah, multiple times in early in that chapter, that first section of the book, he talks about how he's like, "Do I have to destroy my own brother?"
Hmm.
And he uses the word destroy several times,
Yeah, yeah,
which is like a classic thing. I feel like in a lot of kids shows when they don't want to say kill, the enemy will like just say I'll destroy you. But in this book,
yeah.
even they later use the word kill. So I don't. It's very weird to me that he would say destroy. Maybe that's Jake's own internal censoring because he can't bear the thought of it or something.
That could be. I was thinking maybe there's just like a line as a writer where it's like, I don't want to say kill my brother, but I can say, kill a Yeerk or something. But yeah, that could be. That could be Jake's internal censoring here.
I guess they don't want to. We don't really want to think of these Yeerks as like you destroy a Yeerk. Like it's not like it doesn't have a soul. It's not murder. It's a thing. You just
Yeah, I
smash it.
mean, I don't know though, because K. Applegate, especially as we get deeper into the series, clearly doesn't think that that's true.
Mm.
And I mean, even in this book, there's some of that, which we will get to. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
All
so.
right. Okay. All right. Okay. But back to how Kafkaesque this is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back to
Um,
that.
there's a part where they're talking about the roach morphs, and Marco says this would be a great horror movie, or at least a book. Roach Man. You think
Mm.
do you think that's a reference? Is that a Kafka reference? Is that supposed
I-
to be like a
mm.
wink wink at the audience? Like this would make a good book, right?
Mm.
Wait, I
Interesting.
winked in real life, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Or
didn't
am I
think of
reading too
that.
much into it?
You
Yeah.
might not be. I didn't think of it as anything, but
Like again, I just very literary, so that sort of stuff comes
yeah,
to me.
hard to say. Hard to say.
Yeah.
I Marco also says, I have it written. I can't believe we are actually going to practice a morph. We never practice. We just do it, and when it's a huge disaster, we try and deal with it then. Um, Good observation, Mark. In book two, you were getting kind of mad at Jake for just going in as a flea and not being able to. Yeah, maybe he should have practiced how to listen as a flea too. Then he would have not fucked everything up.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they could do better, but they're stupid.
Yeah,
They're kids.
they
Is
are
this how
stupid.
all bugs hear? Are there no hearing bugs?
I mean, it's sort of how you hear too. You just have a good brain for processing it.
Hmm.
I don't actually
Yeah.
know if bugs have specific sensory organs for like tympanic membranes or whatever, or if it's just a completely different function. No clue.
Yeah.
I
Oh
need
well.
Animorphs to teach me these things,
Yeah.
so I'm going to assume they don't because that's what this book says.
Maybe if we order some zoo books, they'll help clear this up for us.
Yeah,
The millennials will like that. Um.
I
Yeah.
had
Mhm,
I
mhm.
didn't I never did zoo books, but I had did you ever have wildlife fact files?
This is absolutely some regional fucking shit. That is no one else had
Okay.
wildlife fact
They were
files.
like little pamphlets, right? Like, so they weren't very large. It was like a cover and a back and then an inside thing, basically like a sheet of paper folded in half. But they were for like every species. So I would like collect these and I had a binder of them in like order and I had like thousands of them because they would just you'd be like, okay, so here's the mammals and each mammal would have its own number and they'd be like, yeah, here's 700 mammals, different species. So I have somewhere I still have this binder of these wildlife fact files.
Wow, you better break that out for the next episode.
See if I can't go find it.
Maybe it won't exist. Maybe this is a
Maybe I
Mandela
made it
effect.
up. I'm sure it's somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure that you will find it eventually. I like. There's a part here when they're turning into bugs. Also, Marco says, "I have a major urge to step on myself."
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was sort of
I think
I don't know.
Tobias also does the thing where he goes, "Boy, I wish I could step on you if I had feet or something."
Yeah, yeah, that comes up, I think, maybe later on,
It
yeah.
might be later.
Yeah, that's
uh,
interesting. There's a pretty funny part where, they're testing it out. Marco says, "Say I'm a huge dork,"
You're a
and Jake
huge
says,
dork.
"Yeah, yeah." It's pretty funny.
It is pretty funny.
That is really funny. Also, I didn't know Cassie, according to this, is a better morpher than Axe.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, just, geez, she's such a little prodigy. I kind of hate her.
I mean, Axe. I don't think there's anything about being an Andalite that makes you a better morpher. Like, I don't. I think Axe might be a worse morpher than these guys because he morphed in school for morphing class, and then he showed up and they'd already done a bunch of real world morphing, but he never really did anything else. Like, I don't think there's anything specific to being an Andalite. Like I said, Cassie is an Estrine. She can morph really good. Andalites have them too, but they're not every Andalite.
Right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. There was there's also a part here where they're talking about Tom and everything. Made me
Mhm.
realize, like, I mean, I guess it was obvious, but I became consciously aware of it. Tom is also Rachel's cousin.
Yes. Yes, he
So
is.
I don't remember Rachel saying much about Tom, but theoretically, they all would have, like, grown up together and stuff. She should, like, also be pretty should care about him, right? I
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah, you don't hear as much about it throughout the series, although it is pretty relevant to some of the later events near the end that it's true. But I mean, it's yeah, they live right next to each other. They are aware, and there will be, not even that far in the future, scenes where like Rachel's extended or Jake's extended family is relevant to Rachel's life. So, um, like it does come up.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess I was
maybe
also
not as
just
much as it should, but
sort of wondering if Tom also was attracted to his cousin.
well, Tom. Well, we'll talk about him later, but it's not like he doesn't have his thing for cute girls. Um,
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very, very, very true. Perhaps most important in this chapter, Rachel mentions that she set her VCR to tape two of her favorite shows, but she
yes.
forgot to tape the movie of the week.
Mm.
What do we think Rachel's two favorite shows are?
Uh, I bet one is
Friends and
Friends.
Frasier?
I,
Friends and Survivor? So I don't know if that's too early for
I think it
Survivor.
is too early for Survivor.
I'm trying to just think of a 90s hit.
Friends and Xena.
That's it.
I,
Buffy,
I don't.
maybe.
Yeah, I feel like Rachel could easily get into Xena just from Margot calling her that and being like, you know what? I do like this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why we're following this podcast up with the Xena cast.
Right. Yeah. Good old
Uh,
Xena.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
On a
yeah.
slightly more serious
Uh-huh.
note, like I
Yeah.
do want to hammer home the whole killing Tom thing because like as they bring up in this chapter, if Tom's really important, right, and he's in charge of this hospital, and Visser 3 kills people who fail him, right? At what point does it become impossible to save Tom? Because you can't just let him do whatever he wants, but if you stop him even without killing him, there's a real risk that Visser 3 is going to Darth Vader him.
Yeah.
So like this is a real conundrum here.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's
that is
yeah.
pretty good. That is a nice little triangle of despair.
Yeah, and even though they find, obviously they're going to find their way out of it in this book, that problem never really goes away until like
Yeah.
until Tom's issue is resolved. You can't anyway, it'll
I
always
mean,
be there.
I guess here's my concern about that, because I think it's a very good dilemma, but my assumption is that probably it doesn't amount to much more than in every book them going, "Oh, but it'll be bad if we do," but then they will just stop the plan anyway and hope nothing happens because they have to, right? I mean,
I
right?
mean,
Or no?
yeah, yeah, I don't know that much throughout the series, you're not going to see that much of that, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great concept, but it doesn't feel like when you need a series to go on. I don't know
Yeah.
how much you can do with that if you want him to stay in the series and not die or become unyerked.
Well,
Like,
Animorphs does drag a bit toward the end. It's got the unfortunate thing where the longer you go on, the more filler there is, and the more bad the filler is. But also, if you just cut all of the filler, then it would suck. Like it's sometimes it's at its best when it's doing some stupid shit that doesn't matter. So yes, when you're doing that kind of episodic thing where you're like, I need to stretch out this arc story so that Jake can have Tom issues at the beginning and then resolve his things at the conclusion, and I got 50 books. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that's going to come up.
right. Yeah. We'll get the right now. We're sitting pretty on book 6. We're young and bright eyed.
We haven't been beaten into the ground by the horror and trauma of Animorphs.
Yeah. We're everything's fine. Ants, lobsters, nothing weird's happened. I have one more technical question. I can't remember. It might come up a little later, but I don't remember exactly where it is. But there's a part where they're morphed, and somebody laughs. Like Jake hears laughter, but in thought speak.
Yeah, you can laugh in thought speak.
But
You
I
can
was just
scream in thought speak.
I was just thinking though, but you would still have to consciously project that laughter, wouldn't you? like because you can like direct it, you
Yeah.
decide who hears it. So I forget who laughed, but whoever's laughing is like, oh, I better click on to make sure they know I thought that was funny.
You don't project your laughs at people
I don't know. It just feels like an
intentionally?
extra bit of like maybe it's like an instinct if you're in, but it kind of can't be an instinct because you might accidentally laugh into Visser 3's head and he'll be like, Andalites don't laugh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't. Andalite laughter is weird because I always feel like it's probably more of just like a feeling that you get from them, but because they wouldn't have a sound. But like I don't know. I feel like sometimes Axe does laugh. Oh, I don't know. Well, we'll see about Axe joking at some point. I'm gonna keep my eye on Axe joking for the specifics of it because it is always
Okay.
good when he tells a joke.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for that day.
Yeah, we'll get there. I don't know if we're gonna get through this book though at the rate we're going.
No, most of my stuff is I'm pretty much done. You can
Okay,
speed through
yeah.
the rest.
Okay, yeah. I mean that's honestly pretty normal that it's all at the front.
That's how we do it. That's just the way our podcast works.
It's normal. Uh After they've done their testing, they can go and infiltrate the nearby sharing meeting and learn about this hospital plan. So they morph in the basement of an abandoned nearby building, and they skitter their way past the, big scary looking guard outside this Boy Scouts meeting, who is not suspicious at all. Um, and they find themselves in what Marco describes as a Yeerk pep rally. Um, but Visser 3 shows up in human morph, so we get to see Visser 3's human morph for the first time. And we learn that, yes, they are going to be doing the Yeerk hospital thing, but also in a few days, the state governor is going to be there, and they plan to infest him. So, and it's worse even than that, because not only would they then have the governor, which means they would have the state police and a lot of other things, but the governor's already been gearing up for a presidential campaign in the following year. So there's this feeling that, oh, maybe if this goes through, that within a year we could have a year president, and Marco says that would be the ball game.
Yeah. Let me tell you, the way this country's been heading, I'd vote Yeerk.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. If
Yeah.
it's a choice between Donald Trump and a Yeerk, a Yeerk, please.
I mean, I was even just thinking back to when this happened here, and I was like, Yeerk in the White House couldn't be worse than Bush, right? That's some politics for y'all.
That's right. This was Clinton era, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that means the upcoming presidential election
Oh yeah,
could have been Bush. I guess if this was 96, then it would have. If this was supposed to be 95, then it would be Clinton. If this is supposed to be, I don't know.
Can I just say something real quick? that might
Yeah, you
be
can.
of this just maybe is something that could happen in this universe. Could be
Okay,
like
shoot.
could be like
Uh-huh.
it could be like
Yeah.
uh
What could it be like?
it would be like I just get if you just something it goes something like um uh I did not expose that woman to Candrona rays. Okay.
That was really good. I mean, think about the other option though, is that we've got a Yeerk in the White House, but we don't have nearly enough Yeerks to actually infect everybody. We still can't openly fight the entire world necessarily. You can't just have the president come in and wantonly nuke everyone or whatever because there are still these other countries. It would still
Yeah.
be an infiltration and all that. It would just be a little bit
Yeah.
better. But imagine, right, the Yeerk president. He gets up in front of the Yeerk pool and he says, "Mission accomplished." Eh?
Yeah.
Eh?
He would.
He
Yeah, he
would.
would. He
Yeah.
would. He would
Maybe
do that.
maybe some angry Yeerk might throw a shoe at him.
Now I'm just picturing it's that this Yeerk is reading a story to these kids when 9/11 happens. And another controller comes and they're like, Visser, sir.
We can do the meme pic with Bush being whispered to. We'll write some words on that and post it on Twitter.
Okay, good. Yeah, we gotta generate more meme content.
Yeah, we don't have enough on there.
Okay. Anyway, what are we talking about?
We were talking about this hospital and the president, and they're infiltrating.
Yeah, and also, and real talk though, you get the president. It's a pretty short step to the UN and in every other world leader. So,
Yes. Yeah.
like
No.
that is the
You
ball game.
could
Yeah,
finagle that, but you would have to get the cabinet. You'd have to get other high-ranking members because,
sure.
at the
It would take
one of the
it would take
things
a month.
I guess. I mean, one of the issues is though that um we they don't have enough Yeerks to infest everyone. The vast, vast, vast majority of humanity would still be completely
Mm,
uninfested, and we
right.
know that the Yeerks can't actually openly engage the humans, or at least if they could, maybe they'd wipe us out, and that wouldn't be good for anybody. Um, and it's not like human beings are particularly good at fighting wars of conquest without killing everybody that they might intend to, especially with nukes and everything. I think there is some real concern of you couldn't just come out and do anything until you got control of all the armies everywhere, and even then, there's still a real possibility for revolt if you reveal that you are in fact aliens. I don't know.
Don't blame
You
me. I
know,
voted for Kodos.
yeah. I mean, I do think that there is. We can talk more about the logistics of Yeerks openly invading as we learn more about it in the future. Because it's also possible that yes, that just would be the ball game, and they'd say, you know what, between having the army and having our army, we could just subjugate everybody and screw off. It's hard to say for sure, but yeah, it would be very bad if the president were infested.
If
I can say
from a
that at
s-
least.
It wouldn't be great. From a certain point of view, the Yeerk invasion of Earth seems almost like they just shouldn't do it. It's like
Well, they
seems
need
like
bodies.
oh right. They need bodies. Yeah. They need
Yeah, I mean
bodies.
they can just breed more Yeerks
Yeah,
if they
right.
have all them
Yeah.
bodies.
Okay, it's getting a little hot in here.
Mm,
Let's yeah, and he specifically mentions they're going to concentrate on police, broadcasters, writers, teachers, people in finance, and especially anyone in a position of political power.
hmm
But broadcasters, writers, teachers, I don't know, they've got a
Yeah,
plan here.
yeah, they do have a plan.
It's yeah, it
Yeah,
seems good.
I feel like I'm analyzing this more because as a kid I was kind of on Marco oh well, if they got the president of the United States, that's it, it's over, and now I'm kind of well, it's not over, it's just a completely new era of how it works.
Right.
I don't know.
But then, of course, Uh-oh, something goes wrong.
Something does go wrong. They are like, okay, we've got everything we need. Let's get out of here. But they get spotted. Some Yeerk tries to stomp them, and very very smartly like raises their hand, and they're like, excuse me, Visser 3, not to interrupt your very important speech, but there's bugs in here. And Visser 3 says, everybody kill the bugs. So everybody's trying to stomp on them. And they're all running away from the flurries of stomping feet. Everybody gets out except for Jake, who's hiding under a newspaper, and they come at him with bug spray. Jake gets hit with the bug spray, and we get this scene where he's like slowly dying of toxin. When at the last minute, Tobias swoops in and picks up Jake and flies him out. Which, I mean, at this point, you know it's an Andalite. Like
That's the giveaway right there. Yeah,
that's kind of a giveaway. And they get him out. Jake manages to demorph before he dies from the neurotoxin, but not before he blacks out and we see the end of his dream from before. Woo. At the very last second, as he's about to kill Tom as the tiger, he and Tom switch places, and he is, in fact, the prey who's about to be killed by the tiger. So,
yeah,
this
very
is,
metaphorical.
it is very metaphorical. Now, this is our kind of like early trauma scene of the book. You know, we usually have one of those. And
Yeah.
I feel like it should be worse than it feels to me. And I'm wondering if that's just because after the ants and lobsters, it's like, oh yeah, he almost got poisoned to death. He was stumbling out half conscious and blacked out and almost died. Big whoop. I've seen it before. Remember the ants, though? Remember the lobsters?
Yeah, nothing's gonna top that. It's just, yeah, this is nothing. This is small potatoes.
Yeah, he just
And,
almost died. Whatever.
and maybe just because Jake is so boring.
Yeah, maybe I am prejudiced against. Nah, I like Jake just fine. He's important.
Yeah,
He's a linchpin.
I know how you really feel. Yeah, I still like to imagine Visser 3. This happens at every single meeting. He just
Yes.
happens to be right this time.
Yeah. No, I was imagining people like at the sharing barbecue, and there's some flies, and
Yes.
Mr. 3 comes out and says, well, why don't you have bug spray on you to kill those flies? Someone shoot this cook, and bam, bam, bam. Which happens in this scene, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great. Somebody's like, my dude, they're just bugs. Kill him. And they fucking kill him.
And they shoot him.
Well, they blam. I don't know.
They blam.
Those blams could be anything.
That's fair.
But
There
I
must
mean,
be a- yeah.
yeah. Yes.
I
What?
was just thinking there must be a lot of missing people around this area.
Well, they just. Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't kill the Yeerk. So they can't. The whole host is dead too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough.
The Yeerk dies if he can't get out in time, and if he can, then
Right.
I don't know. Probably just gets
Yeah.
another host.
Yeah, I guess he just crawls around until somebody picks him up or something. Yeah, if I were, a morpher, I would just do my best to just fuck with Visser 3 all the time. But never let him know that. But I'd just like make him paranoid and he'd just buzz around as a bee. Or one day I'd just be like a squirrel and then just kind of look at him. Or like a dog would walk by and just brush up against him. Just everywhere he goes, he's just like, Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, that is some smart actual like terrorism right there. If you're just like, I need
Well, what can I
guerrilla
say?
tactics, just come in and make it untenable to be around.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, I feel like you do that often enough. If you don't get found out, Visser 3 loses some of his credibility because everyone's like, enough, Visser 3, fucking enough. It's a bird, dude.
If they didn't have Cassie to moralize for them, they could even start morphing into people and just walking around in there so that he starts being like, oh my god, is that a Yeerk or is an Andalite? Better kill him.
Yeah, that's good. You want to werewolf him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Marcus for, is to give those ideas.
Yeah, Marco has some really good ideas. All
He
right,
sure
but
is.
yeah, but they get out and whatever.
They do get out. This dream, very metaphorical. as you were saying here.
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um, I, I want to talk about this dream, but I don't know that I can. Because I'm trying to figure out how to not like, but it's very thematic. I really like the way that it ties into to Jake and Tom thematically. Um, I don't know. I wish I could say more. If you've read the series, you probably know what I'm getting at. But
I see. You're talking around things that tie into the future you don't want to spoil.
yeah, yeah, I could have
Okay.
figured out how to say that better, but I didn't. So
Well, that's yeah. I cleaned it up for you. Now it's
good,
good.
good
Yeah.
job.
Well, Tom had become the tiger, and I was his prey. Yeah. Sure. I don't. Yeah. Great. It's a. I don't know. The dreams were fine in this book. Honestly, I didn't. I don't. I don't care about dreams. Like, I don't.
Okay, good.
I don't. I don't need to read about a dream.
Yeah, I do strongly believe that nobody wants to hear about your dreams unless they're in them. So I try not to ever talk about my dreams unless I dreamed about the person I'm talking to.
Yeah, yeah. As you know, it's. I'm sure I've said it many times in real life, but not in the podcast. The Always Sunny quote: "A dream is like flipping through a stack of photographs. Unless people are naked or I'm in them, I don't care."
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good quote.
Yeah. All right. So
Uh,
so let's
they've
get
had
away from the dream.
they've had their meeting. And now, we do our regrouping stuff again. So we're back at school. We get to see Jake playing basketball in gym class with some unimportant guys who never come up again called
Excuse
Juan
me.
and Terry.
These are my new favorite characters, Juan and Terry. I love
Juan and
them.
Terry.
You're
They're
telling me we don't get a Juan and Terry reappearance in this series?
Yeah, it's really sad. We don't get to have like a whole book about how Juan and Terry's parents are voluntary controllers to protect them or anything like that.
That
They have to
sucks.
infiltrate their basement.
It's
I
a big
know.
bummer for me. It's
They
a
have a
big bummer.
lot of really good dialogue in here too.
Yeah, they're great.
Uh, um, but yeah, Marco shows up. He has figured out the governor's schedule by impersonating a reporter and just asking. And so the governor's got this laid out schedule. They just told him, some staffer just told him. And Tuesday is when he's going to stop doing politics stuff and go on a vacation. So they figure, all right, that's when he's going in to the hospital for his minor surgery. So that's the plan. Or the plan is they got to get in before that and do their junk. Jake then
Mhm.
goes out to the mall with Rachel and Cassie to shop for his mom's birthday, so we get some good Rachel shopping at the mall moments. Because of course she's great at it, and Cassie and Jake are dumb fucks. And we find out that the plan is that they're going to morph flies to infiltrate the hospital this time, as opposed to the cockroaches. And they know there must be some kind of miniature Yeerk pool there to infest people, so they're going to try to find it and destroy it. Um,
Yeah.
Again, just a lot of random. This is the thing about Animorphs, is that the big important things you kind of got to talk about them because they're important, but then the random bullshit is where all the fun little asides happen.
Yeah, I mean, like again, the classic Juan and Terry.
Right, Juan and Terry, my favorite characters.
And this is where I was again back to the height thing. I was a little confused because Juan suggests they're kind of joking around with each other.
Mm, yeah.
Juan says you should be playing football, and Jake says let me practice by tackling on you. And I think it's supposed to be funny because he's like this guy's he would like he would tackle him real easy. As he describes him,
Mm,
he's about 5'11" and weighs like 10 pounds. Now the
yeah.
weighs like 10 pounds part, but it seems like is he trying to like make fun of this guy or is he saying I don't
He's tall.
understand what
He's
he's
really
saying.
tall. He's really tall but spindly because remember they're kids.
Oh yeah, I did just remember that they are kids.
Yeah, yeah. He's not calling him like an under 6 foot manlet.
Yeah, that's what I thought like, geez, Jake, like 5'11" is really
That's the
I,
meme.
I'm confused about why he mentions the height, to be honest. I feel like that muddies the whole thing.
Well, I think he's good at basketball because he's tall. That's why he's on the team and
Right.
Jake's not. But Jake's got the the
It
build.
confuses the issue of the tackling to me. I don't know. Just say weighs 10 pounds or something. That's enough. Also, I did not understand when Juan says, I can't figure out, or maybe it's Terry, I don't know. I can't figure out why they would want some guy who looks like he's made out of straws. So I guess he's making fun of Juan for being too skinny.
Yeah, he's a lanky guy.
Made out of straws, though? What?
Yeah.
That's not. No one's ever said that before.
Listen, when you're like a jock kid and you're joking around with your bros, you know how it is. You throw out some fun little. It's just playful ribbing, you know?
Yeah, I guess so, for my pleasure. And yeah, I think it's it's a sad note that the fact that you realize Tom is gifted at basketball and could be a good basketball player, but this Yeerk is just preventing him from actually living his life.
Yeah, no, they do point out Tom could have been great, but he went. I mean, I guess he went and joined the sharing, so you could think of this as like your friends who got sucked into a cult or an MLM or something.
Yeah, it is basically that, and it is a similar thing with me that's the reason that I did not become really good at basketball is because of the Yeerk would not let me in my head.
Right. Yeah, same. I could have been great. I could have been doing better things than this podcast did. That darn old
Yeah,
Yeerk.
yeah, I know, but this Yeerk is like, you must tell the people of my story. That could be our gimmick. Could we make that our
Hmm.
gimmick? Yeah,
We
that
could,
could be
yeah.
fun.
We'll be in character on Twitter from now on, or in.
There's a bit of now. Okay, that's all I had to say about Juan and Terry. Unless you had more
Right.
Juan and
Yeah.
Terry
No,
notes.
no. Most of what I had to say here was at the mall.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me. Yeah, what do you got about the mall?
uh, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in general. It's more with like Jake and Cassie, but I mean, first of all, I like how Rachel is so good at shopping here. There's a part where Cassie makes a suggestion about what Jake's mom might like for her birthday, and Rachel says, "Look at the name of that store. It might as well scream fat middle-aged ladies." Which I think Rachel actually would do quite well on Twitter because she's got that like bite that you need for modern day social media.
Oh, I thought
You
you were gonna
know,
say because she's like, she's fat phobic and she'd get a lot of.
that too. That too. No, you. I mean, that's sort of what I mean in a sense. Like you gotta have that power behind your words to drive engagement.
Rachel might be the Wendy's social marketer.
Ooh, yeah. Maybe that's what she grows up to do.
I'm gonna write that fanfic next. Yeah, that women do be shopping. Sure,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Now, longtime readers know exactly what. Anyway,
I don't.
don't worry about it.
Enough future illusions.
All right,
Okay,
all right, all right, all right. I'll
this
let it
is
go.
this podcast is about me. I
Right.
don't like
Yeah.
these references that
It's
aren't for
your
me.
journey. Yeah. Everything's for you on this. Okay.
There were some. This section had some pretty. I mean, I guess I'll just say bad dialogue.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I mean, just there's some parts that I was a little embarrassed reading. She shops, she scores.
Yeah. That's
It's
that's our Rachel. She's up, she scores.
it's a little bit. This feels a little bit like a Disney Channel original movie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it.
So we also had, I mean, on kind of on that note, we find out that last year Jake got his mom a near mint copy of Spider-Man #3, no hyphen. And I had three things to say about this.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe we would save this for the end, but no. If we can talk
Yeah.
about it now. Yeah.
The first thing to say is that there's no comic named Spider-Man. No hyphen, no nothing, just Spider-Man. The second
Well,
thing,
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but not like
hmm,
I do think there have been comics just called Spider-Man, but
well, there certainly can't be one with no hyphen.
well, that's obviously true. Yes, of course. But the main line series is the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's what this is supposed to be referencing.
Right? Yeah, I would think
Yeah.
so.
The second thing is that if this is what that's referencing, then that's an absurdly like expensive and valuable thing.
Yes, it would be
And
worth thousands and
yeah,
thousands of
and
dollars.
Jake, as a 12-year-old, has somehow got his hands on this. And thirdly, the exact joke of I got my parent a mint condition copy of a comic that they don't appreciate, and then, fans reacting by saying, Jesus, that's expensive. That's like the most 90s early aughts cliche ever. Like, this is the same. You would see people making this joke and then see people like us reacting to this joke in this exact way in like any, like you said, Disney Channel show.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, this whole thing could be a scene from Big Bang Theory.
Mm.
It's not great. As long as we're talking about the Spider-Man comic, I can tell you they changed it in the revision in 2011,
Okay, okay.
and
So we know what they meant.
they changed it to Ultimate Spider-Man #3, which the Ultimate line of Spider-Man comics came out in like the 2000s, and yeah, that would be worth like $5. So
Yeah.
it's I guess that is better. That is what the joke is supposed to be.
Okay, okay.
But I mean, even at this time in the 90s, that comic was still very valuable. So, okay, I don't know why. Did K.A. Applegate just not understand that comics have value?
I think she just saw this joke somewhere and put it in herself as well.
Okay. But yeah, that was, I mean, yeah, it
She's
was
the
pretty
old
funny.
mom who doesn't appreciate the comic.
Right, right. Yeah, she threw out kids' collections.
Right.
I'm gonna
Uh,
cancel her for that shit.
I know. How dare she? Um,
Yeah. Jake and
they,
Cassie both love The Fly, too.
they both talk about The Fly. They've seen both versions, the old version and the new one with Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, and you can imagine that was also updated in the later book to say the old one and the really fucking old one.
Yeah.
um, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I don't know that two young teenagers are watching the Fly movie from the 50s. Like that's not even
I
like a
was
fun movie.
I was thinking about it because, like, I remember that movie. I saw that movie as a kid, and I remember that for most of it, it's pretty boring. But I did remember
Yeah.
that ending that they reference, where
Well,
he's
that's
trapped in the spider web.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I
I
feel like
actually, yeah,
I was just gonna say that's been like even without seeing the movie, that's been like The Simpsons, like a
yeah,
ton of cartoons and stuff have done that help me
yeah,
thing.
yeah. I actually went back and revisited it because I was like, I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to stack this up against, the Jeff Goldblum fly, which
Oh
is
yeah.
kind of disturbing and fucked up and feels age inappropriate. And is this really the scene that's going to stick with them? And I revisited the scene and I was like, honestly, yeah. It's like rewatching it. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up and horrifying. I can understand why it just like
Uh,
out of nowhere in this mostly boring movie, this sticks with people.
yeah, I mean, it left an impact on on our culture because yeah, nobody knows that movie, but people do. Like you'll hear that once
Yeah,
in a while. You'll hear that help me thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like Flash Dance. You know about Flash Dance?
What do you mean? What about Flashdance?
The movie Flash Dance. You
Like,
know
are you
about
just
it.
talking about like the song,
Oh, the movie.
or? I mean, I know the movie, sort of.
Yeah. Well, there's like the fucking scene where the guy
Oh,
is
you're
like
talking
on
about,
a
yeah, 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 yeah,
when he's
yeah.
on
Just the scene from it. Okay,
the chair with the water pouring down,
right.
and it's or is it a woman? I don't know, but but it's not like nobody fucking knows anything about Flashdance anymore. But you'll see that scene for some reason like parodied still.
Yeah.
And
No,
it's
I
like
mean that's
what?
me. I don't know
Why?
anything about that movie, but yeah,
Yeah,
I'm aware
no
of that.
one does. No one does because it's from like 200 fucking years ago. All right. Anyway, the Fly.
The Fly. Jake also says here he liked it better when they were morphing non-bugs, which, yeah,
Me too.
it's not too glamorous being an animorph, right? Like, bugs are, like, it turns out, just the more useful things to be. So, eh, they don't always get to be the cool tigers. It's funny, like, how many of their morphs are just shitty utility, like, don't notice me animals. You got the cockroaches and the flies. They've got the shrew, the seagulls, the flea, the green anole lizard. all these
It
things.
is pretty funny for 6 books into the series about like kids turning into animals and just like,
Yeah,
oh, gorilla, a tiger. 90% of the books are
yeah,
they just turn into the shittiest
yeah.
fucking animals.
It's great. I love it.
The like
Yeah,
the complete opposite of wish fulfillment. It just
yeah.
sucks.
Okay, yeah, she wanted to write a realistic series.
And kids ate it up still. They
Oh
love
yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's pretty
Uh,
good. It's
We
pretty
get like
good.
all the gross out aspects too. But
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, we're about to get into even more gross territory pretty soon.
yeah, they all morph into flies, which is another very gross scene. And then they ride Tobias to the hospital like a bus. Um, we can, if you want to stop and just talk about the flies, we can. I don't know that I have
Well,
anything.
I mean, it's really gross. Rachel barfs.
Right, right.
There's a lot of. I feel like almost
Barf in every
every
book.
time they morph, somebody's like, "That's not attractive." There's like a lot of. They just want to be clear, like, I don't want to fuck you right now. I don't know about
Yeah.
it's and I just wanted to call back to our introduction episode, which people may have skipped, in which I discovered on Wikipedia. If you recall, K.A. Applegate at one point under a pseudonym wrote a series of books that was called like Grossology. I don't know what it was called, but they were all just like really gross, like for teen boys to.
Yeah, I don't think it was Grossology because there was a series called
Yeah,
Grossology that I read, and I think that wasn't her.
yeah, it was something else. You can look on Wikipedia, but reading this part of the book, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. She would be good at that. This whole portion was basically like teenage boys to go like, oh, dude, oh, sick.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah. I
did.
mean, I liked it. It's good.
Yeah,
Could
and
have been women too.
I
Girls
mean,
can like
even
gross things.
what is this? Well, I don't know about that. I don't agree with that, but it's to each their own. Tobias says when they're writing on him, he says it's enough to gag a maggot. And to which Marco says, "Don't be
Yeah,
dissing our kids that way."
gag me with a maggot.
Yeah, it sounds that is what it sounds like. Yeah, yeah, and then also they mentioned that they'd all watched The Fly the night
Oh
before
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
together.
that was the movie of the week or something, I guess.
Well,
This week.
it's
Rachel
so yeah,
earlier, she missed the movie of the week, so that maybe this week. I
you
don't
know,
know.
back in the 90s, you didn't have Netflix or YouTube. Like, if something was on TV, you watched it. They didn't have. They didn't have money to rent a videotape. They had to watch The Fly. Okay,
It
that's
is
just how it
crazy that
was.
that's kind of true, right? Like if a movie
Yeah,
played on TV, there's a non-zero chance other people saw it. Like those jokes feel really dated now, but
right. Yeah, you had to find entertainment somewhere. You
yeah,
had to watch something. There's a movie on TV. Well, What else am I gonna do?
yeah, fuck it.
Gotta watch it.
Go watch The Fly. Uh,
That's on our Patreon. We'll review The Fly.
yeah, smart. Um,
Uh,
but they get to the hospital on Tobias. I do think it's kind of weird them riding him, but whatever. They get there, they get into the hospital, and they split up into groups to look for the Yeerk pool. Axe, Cassie, and Jake in one, Rachel and Marco in another. We got kind of a Scooby Doo thing going on. Um, Jake and company pick up a strange scent and they follow it to a room. They have Axe demorph first, which is lucky because there is a human controller in the room who Axe knocks out. And then Cassie and Jake demorph, and they discover that there is some kind of like therapy jacuzzi that you might see in a hospital, and it's been converted into a portable Yeerk pool, and it's full of Yeerks.
Therapy jacuzzi.
Therapeutic, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, this is yeah, it's things are getting real now.
Yeah. Now, oh, I should have said this when they're doing the fly thing, but earlier in the book, Marco said they never practice, and yeah, they didn't practice. This is their first time morphing fly, and they just went. I guess it was fine this time, but
Yeah, they say like flies are so dumb that it's like very
Mhm.
easy to control them. The Cassie kind of says that.
Yeah, I
So,
guess it. Yeah,
It's
she would
fine.
know. She's the morpher expert.
Well, yeah. Well, she says it after she becomes one for the first time, so she didn't know before that.
She
But maybe
figured it
she
out.
did. Yeah, maybe she did. She just didn't tell anyone. So yeah, yeah. I mean, this is fun.
Yeah, they're all in there. Now,
It's gross.
yeah, it's just a lot of like, "Ooh, I smell poop" jokes, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that comes up quite a few times.
Yeah, they love that joke. The only real thing is, Axe says like, "Oh, well, I only knocked the guy out. I didn't want to kill him because I didn't know if it was Tom or not. I don't know what Tom looks like." And Jake says, "Good instinct because that guy's a person with a family and all of that." Which, what about the Hork-Bajir guys? I mean, they're good people.
No,
Come
no,
on, I'm going to
no.
say this like every book.
We don't give a shit about them. Okay,
What about the Hork-Bajir?
it's kill or be killed. The ones who look like us, save them. These ones who are
Uh,
different, no.
Yep. And
They're
Visser 3 was
scary.
suspicious about it last book and will never be again.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine now. He saw an Andalite. He saw the Andalite. How could it be
Yeah. I
anything
mean,
suspicious?
it's good for their cover. Flymorph comes into the room and demorphs into an Andalite. Must be Andalites, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Can't
yeah,
be
yeah.
humans.
Smart,
Looks good.
smart. Gotta be Andalites.
Yeah.
Now,
Gotta be.
yeah, it's like maybe also Axe is clearly maybe kind of a sociopath. Too, I mean, he's in the same boat. He doesn't give a shit about the Hork-Bajir either. He has no
Yeah.
sympathy, despite of
Yeah.
also being an alien of some kind. He's just like fuck
Yeah.
them all.
Yeah, I mean he's the same thing as these guys but with the humans. He's saying, well,
Oh
the
right,
humans are also not like me, so
right. Yeah, if it was an Andalite, he'd be like, we got to save him. Yeah,
I mean, he's been trained as a warrior. He's a cadet, so he's ready to go to war.
true. Now this was the part I was talking about where I just was a little confused about some of the terminology here. As
Yeah.
he says, yeah, like you said, it's a portable Yeerk pool, and Axe says there must be a small Kandrona nearby.
Hmm.
And now the Kandrona rays are the rays of their sun, or he says, yeah, the rays of
Yes.
their home sun. And
Yes.
quote, Kandronas are artificial sources of Kandrona rays.
Yes.
Why wouldn't a Kandrona be non-artificial source of a Kandrona ray? Like, is this a Kandrona or is it a thing that replicates a Kandrona? Is the sun the Kandrona?
I always kind of took it to mean that the name of the sun is Kandrona, and they make Kandrona raids, but then they also have artificial ones, and they're just called Kandronas. Like if
They
we
just
brought
didn't
portable
bother
suns
coming
and
up with a
said that's our
name.
sun, I don't. Yeah, we
Yes.
brought ourselves a sun. I don't know.
I guess. They're just like, this sun produces artificial sunlight like our sun does.
It
It's our
works for
sun.
me. Yeah, it's fine. We
I
didn't
don't
even
know.
name our sun. I mean, I guess you could call it. Nah, soul isn't even a name. It's just a different name for word for sun. They named theirs.
I mean, we just named our planet after all the stuff on the ground.
Ah,
That's like a Norm Macdonald joke.
yeah, I know
Uh,
that joke.
okay. Well, anyway, it confused
Yeah.
me, and I don't like it. They should be called mini Kandronas or some shit. I don't know.
Well, it's in our opening. The Kandrona is shining and strengthening us, so you
Sure,
can't change it.
the primary Kandrona, not these shit Kandronas that make fake Kandrona rays.
Well, the one aboard the Yeerk pool ship in orbit that's supplying the main Yeerk pool, and I don't know why it's not supplying this jacuzzi, but whatever. Or no, the one in orbit. I'm sorry, the one in orbit supplies the pool ship. There's another one on Earth somewhere that supplies the. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Um, Ignore
That's fine.
me.
I do.
My brain is fried. Whatever. We can move on from Kandronas.
I'm trying
Jake,
to.
Jake turns on the jacuzzi and fries the Yeerks. He actually fixes it first. He goes in there and rewires it so he can turn it on, and turns it on maximum heat, maximum jets, and boils all the Yeerks in it alive. And as the Yeerks are boiling, some controllers bust in. a fight begins. Rachel and Margot come in, all morphed as like elephant and gorilla. Cassie's already wolf, whatever. They have their big fight. But as this is happening, Jake, still in human form, hiding, gets hit like grazed in the side of the head by a ricocheting bullet, and he falls into the boiling Yeerk pool. So we got our nice little fight scene here. X cuts off a dude's hand.
He does. Star Wars Cantina style.
Yeah, and we get some boiling here. Does it seem crazy to you that Jake can just fix this jacuzzi by connecting like red wire to red wire, blue wire to blue wire?
Yeah, I don't know. My eyes kind of glazed over for that part. I just sort of feel like I just kind of thought, I don't know, he just like turns on the hot water meter or something. Like,
I mean, if it was basically functional, then that would make sense. But I don't know. It reminded me, you were talking earlier about all the like, it's like a point and click game or something, and I was like, yeah,
yes.
This is the mini game where you have to connect the wires.
Yes. Oh, that is what it is. This is the one that doesn't require any other items. You get to just do a little puzzle. Oh man. Oh, I gotta make this game. Yeah. It's pretty gnarly,
Yeah.
boiling these Yeerks in their own pool.
Yeah, it is kind of fucked up. Like, I mean, to be fair, these are not like civilians or prisoners of war, right? These are like enemy combatants in their bunker. You know what I mean? There's no direct,
Sure.
like it's not necessarily just inherently unethical to come in and boil them all, but it is really like disturbing and messed up to think about it, because those Yeerks are people, and I wish that at this point they were diving into that more. Like, the books will give you more empathy for Yeerks, but Jake at this point is just like, boil them, and Axe is like, sure, and they do
Axe
it.
is like, mash them.
Yeah.
And Jake, as a former lobster, knows literally what it feels like to start boiling alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Although lobsters don't feel pain or something. I don't know. Isn't that what they say? Who cares? Fuck lobsters. They're disgusting.
That's not what K.A. Applegate says.
Now, it was... So, my overall question about this, was this their plan?
I mean, this is basically exactly their plan, right?
It feels very seat of their pants. Like, it all happened so fast. I don't really know how they found this room. How did they know this was the room when it just happened? It's not even like hidden. It's just in a room. Like, it's not underground or anything. It's just like, oh yeah, door number 22A on the first floor. That's where we keep the Yeerk pool. Like,
to be
what?
honest, this feels very much like they put the big smash ending from the regular books 2/3 through the book, because the book goes in a completely different turn from this point forward, and this plot line is resolved. They snuck in, they boiled the Yeerk pool, they're out, they're done, they did it. Success.
Yeah, that's good. As I was reading this, I was looking and I'm like, how is this is the end of the book? What's going on? And but I guess I expected, the first time we saw the Yeerk pool under the school was like gigantic. So I expected that to be in this hospital, not just like a tub.
Yeah. Now, I think Visser 3 says that the hospital is going to produce like 200 Yeerks a month or something like that, which is a lot, but not like an insane number. They don't have to have a massive city-wide pool capable of holding tens of thousands of Yeerks or anything.
Right. Well, now, as you said, this is book 6.5. There's a whole other fucking plot about to happen.
Yeah, no,
we're now about to get into another plot.
The 90 minutes plot in, that's written on the back of the book. Here at 100 pages in, we get to the thing that
is that
the back
really
of the book
on
says
the back
is what it's about. Yeah, it just
it's like
literally
a late twist.
Yeah. I mean, just reading from the back here, they've even figured out how to get in, how many people will really notice a few flies on the wall, but they never figured that they might get caught, or that Jake could fall into the Yeerk pool, that Jake could. We're going to find out what happens to Jake. But it says it on the back, right here.
No. It's a dot. There's a dot.
No, there's not. It
Wait,
just keeps
what?
going.
Oh, that was you trailing
That
off?
was me putting a dot 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 on there because we haven't quite said it yet.
Okay. Well, go ahead and say it.
All right, I'll finish it up. Or that Jake could fall into the Yeerk pool. That Jake could become a human controller, a Yeerk, the enemy. That's on the back of the book. So Jake, it turns out, has been infested when he fell into the pool. One of the Yeerks escaped the boiling by crawling into his head. And so now we're
Yeah.
on a different plot, which is about Jake being infested. We, as they get him out, Jake takes a little while to come to, and he discovers there's a Yeerk in his head. Jake and the Yeerk, like, we start off having some conversations, effectively. We find out this is Tom's Yeerk, Temrash 114, and which actually kind of means Tom is safe from all this because there's some low-level Yeerk in him now. He's not going to get executed if this all goes wrong. But Jake comes to, he starts making plans and reassuring them everything's going to be okay. And by Jake, I mean, of course, Jake Controller. And Jake is in his own head, unable to control his body. He's like despairing that they're not going to figure it out. But Axe shows up, and the stupid Yeerk immediately gets this racist look on his face when he sees Axe. And Axe goes, yeah, Jake's a Yeerk now, which is very fortunate. So they're all kind of suspicious, and they say, all right, well, what if we hold Jake for 3 days to starve any potential Yeerks, if there are any, and Axe can pretend to be Jake. So Axe goes to acquire him, and the Yeerk immediately freaks out and gives the whole thing away, because as soon as Axe touches him, the Yeerk's like, oh, get your hand off me, Andalite filth. So we get a whole bunch of junk going on here. From this point forward, there's not a ton of events, but there's a ton of stuff going on because so much of it is presented from like inside Jake's head. It is a good thing that they immediately find out he's a Yeerk. It's kind of sad, right? Because it would be a cool storyline if one of them was secretly a Yeerk and infiltrating them.
Oh,
but
yeah.
right, if they were left alone for 5 minutes, it would just be over. He'd just turn into a bird and go talk to Visser 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this because odds are we'll never do it, so I'm not worried about saying it. But I know there are some Animorphs like D&D campaigns out there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How cool would it be if like one of your players you took aside and you're like, you're a Yeerk, and nobody else knows, like, for the whole campaign? It's like a twist.
Ooh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, what if you had a Yeerk board game where you had a secret Yeerk imposter or
Oh,
multiple Yeerk imposters?
I mean, I thought that literally
They could infest each other.
Yes, it's made for that. I mean, we'll talk about Animorphs board games in a year and a half, but yes, that there needs to be the Resistance Mafia style Animorphs. It's such a no brainer, and I mean that because Yeerks will take your brain. And as we were saying before, I'm, just like the Marco twist in the last book, I love that I didn't know this twist.
Yeah.
And I legit, I mean, I'm also just stupid, but as when they first start, he's just like hearing a voice in his head, and I'm like, that's weird. I guess there's like, is Visser 3 there, like projecting into his head? Like I had the perfect slow realization of like, oh shit, oh no, it's a fucking Yeerk. It was great.
That's really good. See, this is why spoilers are so bad, and you shouldn't read summaries or watch trailers or anything.
I loved it. I was like, holy shit, this shit is kicking into high gear now.
Yeah,
it's
great.
So yeah, that was all good. And then this Yeerk is, I gotta say, dumb as shit.
He's just a bit racist is all.
He gives it up so fast. And also, this is after he really gives it up, but I feel like there's a weird thing that he says as Jake that like nobody comments on at all.
I mean, you might as well say it.
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
It's in this like part, and it's very obvious but he's trying to be like, he's still trying to defend himself and be like, no, I just had to annihilate filth because I was in a bad mood. I'm Jake. I promise, I'm Jake. And he says, because he's like, I have to go home because, no offense, Tobias, but I have an actual family,
Oh yeah.
not some messed up aunts and uncles who didn't want to be
Yeah.
taking care of me in the first place.
Uh,
And it's like the meanest thing anyone has
yeah.
ever said, and no one even says like, Jake, come on.
You know,
it just
I could see it if he hadn't had to inhabit Tom, right? Because it's just like Yeerks are always dicks. So being like, okay, I need to concoct something. I got to do it on the fly. I'm under pressure. I don't know this person. I can figure out their culture and their mannerisms, but I got to do it while I'm actively working. Like he's multitasking, right? So you could see something like, oh, I need to find an excuse. Okay, well, Tobias has that. So I show him that I know. But he has been in a human for years now. He's not like he knows what's rude and what's not rude to humans. That part is not new to
right.
him.
Yes. He's such a dick. Maybe he just picked up on like Tobias is the loner. I can gain favor from the others
Mm,
by acting like the alpha or something.
yeah. Or maybe he's trying to do the thing where people like joke about Tobias, but it's all in good fun and he just fucks it up bad.
Yeah, it's like a classic like autistic character in a sitcom tries to join in and goes too far and then is like, "What?"
Well, let's not be
I meant
uh
like an actual autistic character, like a Sheldon from Big Bang Theory or
yeah,
Abed from Community.
yeah, okay. I mean that the second one I'm led to believe is at least slightly better representation than your first option.
Does Sheldon not have he's clearly an autistic character. Am I
I
wrong?
mean, yes, but I don't know that he's who you would speak to for representation purposes.
All right. Well, look, just send us your fucking hate mail. I don't care.
Yeah,
Go
send it to
on.
him. I did nothing wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, feed me with your. I'm like the Yeerk in Jake's head. I love hearing your anger and rage.
I would love some hate mail.
Yeah,
That,
come on. I'm fucking trying. Okay.
yeah,
No,
you're leveraging your mood to the best of your ability.
I didn't do anything wrong. So continue.
So I mean, there's one main thing from this conversation that I did really want to drill down on is that uh, Temresh says that his number is
Oh
his rank.
yes, yes. This is important.
Now, this sounded wrong to me, so I did check on Seropedia, and they say that it is wrong. Uh,
What the fuck?
in the goofs and inconsistencies, they say Temresh says he was promoted from 252 to 114, but later in the series, it is stated that it is the order of a Yeerk's birth in their generation that determines the number assigned. So that solves that mystery, is that she changed her mind about it.
That's stupid.
She probably, I mean, because like at this point, that would mean that Visser 3 is just Visser 3, and that's like his name and not his rank, a bit, basically, I
That is
guess.
his rank, though.
It is his rank, but like what later on she wanted to give him a name, and she gives him the name Esplin 9466, and clearly he can't be 9466 ranked.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's why she did it.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I mean, that sucks, but I did like that we get a little new terminology when he says he could be an undervisor.
Oh yeah, I think that's also just a thing she later decided was called a subvisor.
Oh, that's worse. I like undervisor.
Hmm. Well, you can keep calling him that.
I'm going to.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's just
The
disappointing.
listeners will now know going forward what you mean, what you're talking about.
Yeah, they'll all know.
Yeah, it'll make sense. So I mean, I also just maybe the Yeerk's just bad at understanding humans here, but there is a thing that happens at the beginning where they're a little bit worried about him because he's been hurt and they're not sure if he's a Yeerk yet. And the Yeerk says, "Oh, I don't need to go to the hospital. I have. What if they find Animorph DNA in my system? Don't worry about it." I have a much better reason than that that the real Jake could have given. That doesn't seem that difficult to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a 13-year-old comes into a hospital with a gunshot wound to the head. The police are going to be called.
Yeah.
Like, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They need a secret vet to do surgeries on him.
Yeah,
But
that's
but
true.
yeah. Good point. Pretty good point.
That's my main thought there.
Yeah, we get some good Yeerk Jake dialogue here, and as well as this, he explores some of Jake's deepest fantasies,
Yeah,
which shockingly have nothing to do with Rachel.
That's true. Oh, she couldn't write those ones. Those were inappropriate. Yeah, they lead him out to a shack in the woods and tie him up, so we can get some our good interactions where Jake is sitting there tied up with his Yeerk and they're talking. They basically, the Yeerk, we discover, has the ability to play back memories in Jake's head. So he's sort of embarrassing him with his memories of being, oh, I'm the greatest basketball player and Tom is proud of me. Remember when you used to fantasize about that, loser? And we also discover that he can play back Tom's memories too. And the Tom memories that he plays back are pretty like hopeless and upsetting because you see like just a scene earlier in the book, but you see that Tom is just like completely broken and beaten down and is despairing, and he's terrified that the Yeerk is going to convince Jake to join the sharing and Jake will be taken too. So like it is, I don't know, it is very upsetting having a
Did
Yeerk
Liam
in your
Neeson
head.
come back for that one?
Hmm?
Did Liam Neeson come back for that one?
Oh,
Taken 2?
I get it. Yeah,
I think he did.
yeah, that's funny.
That was
You're really
that was worth. It's not. We're not almost 2 hours in. It was important for me to. I had to interject with that.
No, I agree. It was a funny joke. I'm glad you did it. But yeah, there's a lot of, it's interesting seeing what it's like to be infested, right? Like he can feel the Yeerk's emotions, but he can't read the Yeerk's thoughts. But the Yeerk can read his thoughts. There's this interesting like psychological warfare that they can do with each other.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant.
But as a reader, it's very pleasant.
Yeah, as the reader, it's great. I love all these scenes where they're going back and forth and just talking about it. Because, Jake's got his taunt he comes back with, too, where he says, yeah, well, you know what? In 3 days, you'll be dead.
Yeah, it isn't the best part of, like, so many movies and series when the villain is in some kind of a position. I mean, it's a little different in this case, but, like, usually that's, like, the hero and the villain are in a room together, they're fighting. But then sometimes you get those parts where it's like the Joker is in an interrogation room in Dark Knight, or whatever it is, where it's like now, or when they capture Loki in the Avengers, like, and there's non-superhero examples too, but you get the chance to have dialogue between those characters, and there's something like very fun and satisfying that like you can't just kill each other, you're forced to have a conversation.
Yeah, I love every time that we have characters who are just like, or whenever we see from the perspective of a Yeerk or the perspective of an infested person in this series, and we just get all that conversation back and forth. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, because they're roommates. They got to live together.
I was actually thinking about book 6 of the Dark Tower trilogy, where a huge percentage of it just takes place inside Susanna's head, and all of her like competing personalities are talking with each other.
Yeah, a lot of Dark Tower crossover. Hey, Animorphs is probably like real in the Dark Tower, right? That's one of the doors.
Yeah. There's got to be Yeerks in the Dark Tower.
Oh, for sure. The Man in Black is yerking some shit up, I bet.
Yeah. That's good.
More for my fanfics. And it's also interesting how it's described. It almost seems like the Yeerk can like holodeck the host's mind. Like it's not just like
Yeah.
making him remember, he's like transporting him to another time and place.
Yeah, yeah, he has like full he can remember the sensations, he can remember the feelings. So like when he's playing Tom's memories back, he's not just seeing what Tom saw, he's feeling what Tom felt.
Yeah, it's cool, and also just this really drives home. I mean, we already had seen some of it, but you get even more of how fucking upsetting the concept of being a host is, as he says, hour after hour and day after day, they see they cannot rule their own bodies. No one knows he's lost in his own head, and over time, hope dies. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. I
God.
think it's interesting how much like being able to hold on to hope can help here because uh as long as Jake's not going to break as long as he thinks, well, in 3 days my Yeerk will die. I can hold on to that. And no matter what my Yeerk says to me, I can come back with in 3 days you're dead. All right, I've got something I can say back. But if that doesn't work and all his friends get captured, then at the end it's just okay, well there's you know, he doesn't have anything he can do. All he can do is talk at the Yeerk. So
Yeah,
he's
he's
got to
gonna
have like yeah.
annoy the shit out of him.
Yeah, yeah, they will start bringing that up if they as things do or don't go wrong for this year. Jake starts he can like taunt him, be like, "Oh, that didn't work for you, huh?"
If it was
Um,
me, I'd just be like singing earworms, like
mm,
getting shit stuck in his head, or I don't know, I'd just be a piece of shit. But then
yeah,
I guess the Yeerk could be like, yeah, well, I'm gonna fucking like
torture
ruin your
you.
life, or yeah, or like stab myself in the hand or something. It's kind of a, if it was a smart Yeerk, which I mean, I guess that's a little, maybe, I don't know if that's too dark. It doesn't feel like it's too dark for this series, but
It's oh, they do. I mean, wait till we get to Viscery. We'll see some dark shit with hosts.
I mean, he wants these guys alive, but I was waiting for him to be like, I'm just gonna fucking bang your head against the wall or something until you let me out. You're just gonna die. There's plenty of,
Yeah,
you got leverage as a Yeerk.
that's true. If the Yeerk knows he can't get out and he's gonna die, he could just threaten to kill Jake. Although they seem okay with that as we go on here. We should talk a bit about how Axe is gonna morph Jake here. Um, because we get to see Axe looking like Jake, and and he's still playing around with his words. So I mean, this is part of Jake still trying to pretend that he's not a Yeerk, even though obviously he is, right? And he's being like, stupid Axe is not going to be able to pull this off. And he's right, or at least he should be right. But everybody kind of says, well, listen, Jake, if you were the real Jake, you would be frustrated, but you would be like, we got to make sure Axe can pull this off. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeerks are kind of like in modern terms, like the AI voice impersonations,
hmm,
And just that, yeah, it's like
maybe.
that. I feel like there's some. I feel like you could bring that over into, it's relevant now because you could compare it to our own technology. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, you can,
This is
that'll be what your paper will be written on.
this is also the part where when, oh, by the way, they go into Jake's dream, and this is where the Yeerk says the line, interesting
Oh, yeah.
dream, very metaphorical.
Very metaphorical. Yeah,
My favorite line, my new
it's
favorite.
good. It
Better
is
than
very
tail feathers grow
metaphorical.
back.
Very metaphorical. Yeah. Well, the Yeerk anyway. That might as well move forward to the next thing that happens
Please
as opposed
barrel
to just
through it.
talking. Yeah. Well, the Yeerk waits till night and morphs Tiger to try to escape after Rachel falls asleep. But Rachel falls asleep. He morphs Tiger. He goes out. They're out deep in the woods. This is a good cabin they found, a good abandoned cabin.
Yeah, they just
Um,
found this. I
yeah,
don't.
Tobias just knew where it was.
Okay.
But tigers aren't distance runners, and he doesn't know which way to go. Any way other than the correct one is going to send him deeper into the woods. So He doesn't really know what to do. He's smelling humans. He doesn't know who that is. Is it park rangers? Is it what is it? He's lost. So he morphs back to human and then tries to morph Falcon. And as he's morphing and vulnerable, he starts getting attacked by Cassie as a great horned owl who has been watching him and is not going to let him morph. Um, and she like breaks his wing and he can't do anything because she's an owl. We recall Tobias loves them, so we know how great they are at night. Um, he tries morphing to a wolf instead, but as he's going there, the Animorphs, who are also in the woods watching him, start howling to alert the real wolf pack, which, the true Animorphs heads will remember from book 3. There's a real wolf pack out there. So he gets cornered by the real wolf pack, and then behind him, Rachel shows up as an elephant, and he's just like, all right, I give up. I'll go back to the cabin. So, and we get a couple more escape attempts like this, where he just gets foiled every single time. He's like trying to be ants and he gets almost killed by ants again. But a lot of these are just sort of, they're just sort of throwaway things, right? After this first big, incident, it seems clear that he's not going to be able to escape.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah.
it's just a fun little. It's like a montage sequence of. It
Yeah.
is fun. I mean, you get to see how they've like outsmarted him, and he's trying all the different morphs. It's interesting. I really liked. There's one notable part to me more so than the rest where we get some more new lore introduced where he says that the Yeerks are conquerors of the Hork-Bajir and the Stram and the Mac.
Yeah, I don't remember the Stram and the Mac other than just having heard their names, so I'm not sure they ever come up again, but I did recognize those, so I don't know if I just read this book too much or they're not, but they're out there.
I better see a Stram before this series ends or I'll be pissed.
Stram. What about the Mac? What about I think I know about what Mac is. Mac and me?
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm a Big Mac, maybe.
Ooh, I could go for a Big Mac. It's a good thing that Temresh decided not to kill Rachel. Or he was just like, yeah, I won't kill her. I'll give her to Visser 3, and then he'll love me because he'll have morph capables. Like, what were they going to do if he said, I'm going to kill her? If I'm going to morph Tiger, kill Rachel, and leave.
Yeah, then they would have the Tobias would have clawed his eyes out. I don't know.
Sure, that doesn't
Rachel
sound like
would
a
have
good
morphed
plan.
into an elephant while she was dying and kicked his ass.
Maybe Rachel just didn't really confer with anyone else on this part of the plan. Was like, he won't do it. I bet I could. He won't. Rachel's that type of person.
Yeah, the whole plan is like pretty much all their plans pretty half baked.
Yeah,
they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
Did we mention the Geds yet? Did we get to the Geds?
We will mention the Geds eventually, but we can talk about them now.
Probably in hour 3. No, yeah, I just meant they bring them up in this book.
They do, yeah. I don't.
That's another new alien.
Yeah. The Geds, they say in this book that there were Geds last book on the Yeerk mothership, but Jake didn't know what they were. So, but yeah, there's Geds around too. They're another alien.
They're sort of monkey-like aliens, and they were like the original Yeerk hosts.
Yeah, they are native to the Yeerk homeworld. They were already being infested by Yeerks before Yeerks spread across the galaxy. They don't mention it here. They say they're like awkward and weird, but Geds have legs that are 2 different lengths, so they always stumble and walk awkwardly.
Yeah, it says short and stooped with webbed feet and 3 clumsy fingers.
Yeah.
Much worse than 7 andalite fingers.
Yeah, they also don't have very good, like, I don't know, voice capabilities. So later on in the series, when we hear Geds talk, they always go all the time. They'll be like, you are andalite filth.
Oh, I'm excited for Geds.
Yeah, Geds seem like your kind of guys.
That is going to be fun. We also get confirmation here when he's feeling the Yeerks. Well, I guess this is coming up, but the Yeerks' emotions and everything. Do you want to just cover that part? I don't know, the next part.
Well, I was just, Yeah, sure. Why not? We can move on after they
There's-
do all of their
yeah, we're
after they
close
do
to the
all of
end
their
here.
stuff. Yeah, because we're basically at the end. Because after they, they're not going to make it. They're not going to be able to escape. And by they, I guess I just mean Temrash.
Mhm.
Um, uh, we get to the last few hours of the final night, and the Yeerk is kind of languishing here, and we get to spend some time with him as he contemplates his death by starvation. Um, and he starts monologuing to Jake. That's where we find out about Geds and stuff. Is he just starts explaining things to Jake at like in his last moments. I think he wants to be understood in a way, and
Whatever.
and
Fuck you.
he enters the fugue, which is a part of Yeerk death. Uh,
The
in the
fugue.
fugue, Jake can feel the Yeerk's agony. Jake feels what it feels like to die as a Yeerk. And he also basically becomes like privy to the last snippets of the Yeerk's like hallucinatory dying thoughts. So he sees the Yeerk's memories of the homeworld. He feels the Yeerk's memories, and he also sees memories from the hosts the Yeerk had. He had a Ged, he had a Hork-Bajir, and he had Tom. So Jake is getting these experiences of being this Hork-Bajir, of being Tom, and in some essence, they're becoming sort of part of him as well. Um,
Damn.
until finally, in Temrash's last dying spasms, Jake naturally opens his own eyes without even thinking about it. And in that moment, the whole world shifts. And for a moment, Jake can see everything from like all angles all at once, inside out. And he sees what looks like the Eye of Sauron on like this miles high mechanical throne. And the
Yeah.
eye looks around, and the eye looks right at Jake and sees him. And then everything's normal, and the Yeerk is dead, and Jake is free. So this this section's great. I love the fugue.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
well, first of all, you're trying to get me to be sympathetic for these Yeerks.
I
We have confirmation here. There's that Yeerks do not love.
Yes, we do get
Yeerks are
confirmation.
incapable of love.
Yeah, they don't naturally feel love.
I don't give a fuck about these ugly slugs. Fuck them all.
I don't know, man. Like to me, when I'm reading this in the Yeerks, like it feels like a shift at this point in the book, where before this the Yeerk is just this monstrous thing, and then in this you get to experience his like pain and agony as he dies, and I don't know, like for me it's sort of like it brings you into his viewpoint and makes you like think of Temrash as this person, um in a way, and it doesn't change that he's monstrous, right? Like at no point do you say, oh well, he's a good person. He's not. Temrash sucks, he's a bad guy, but like he is still a guy. I really like that. I appreciate it. Maybe that didn't
I
work for you, but
Yeah, I sort of felt that, but yeah, it didn't. I felt like I wished it was more like that.
hmm,
It seemed like I'm imagining if this was a TV show, it would be really cool if there was like a whole episode that was like Temrash's backstory. Like you just get to see through his eyes, and then you
hmm,
cut back to this part of the story or something.
yeah.
But yeah, as it was, it didn't quite. I wish it was more effective for me because I still, yeah, it's I felt like 50% of that. I was like, oh yeah, like he's like got a life and history and stuff. But like you said, all his whole history is just like, I'm gonna take over this guy. Now I'm taking over this guy. Like he's just a dick forever. It's just I just didn't.
I
I don't
guess
know.
that's I guess
It
that's
just
right. And we'll see more internal Yeerk histories and stuff. That is one of the things that I wish the series went deeper on toward the end, um I
it
think that will
it
be there
wasn't a
for you.
total failure.
Yeah.
I thought that the foundation was there, but it didn't quite hit for me as well as for you.
Gotcha. I mean, one moment that is like a very minor moment, but that does stick with me is as Jake is clearly suffering and the Yeerk is suffering, Cassie's there with him holding his hand, and Jake says that the Yeerk sort of accepts Cassie's comfort even though it isn't meant for him. I don't know,
Mm.
that felt very sad to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good, but still fuck these fucking pieces of shit.
Excuse me, but we are the Yeerky boys.
Oh, right. I'm just saying that to throw them off the scent. You
Oh
see.
yeah, of course, of course.
Well, as a Yeerk, I fucking hate Yeerks. I feel like they all hate each other and themselves and other life
That's true.
forms.
That's true.
So it's pretty. I think it's spot on. Then we also find out during this section why Tom joined the sharing.
Right, right. There was a cute girl, and he just wanted to meet this chick.
Never go 3D, people.
Ah,
That's it. That's
look
all
at
there is.
look at this mood that you are in.
I'm just saying. Come on. It's the root of our problems.
Yeah,
Just
you're right. When
have
you're
you
right, you're
heard
right.
have you heard about a little thing called MRA? Okay.
Thought you were going for Volcel there.
Well, yeah, you know what it is.
Yeah.
MGTOW. Okay, so
All of those things.
I mean, this episode is going so fucking long, and we could spend 40 minutes probably on
Yeah.
whatever the fuck this Sauron is.
Yeah, we will find out about this Sauron, but not for a long time. This Sauron will remain a mystery to
This
us.
is nuts that they just throw this in there.
Yeah.
That he has a vision of this giant robot with an eye. Like this.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is some Dark Tower level fucking foreshadowing.
It is. It's great. And I do love that you really don't. You really have no clue what the hell this thing is for a long time. It's great. It's just like there.
Oh, it's nuts.
It's good.
It's
There's some good actually, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff we learned here. This is the real problem, is that there's a bunch of stuff going on in here that's just great, even though the episode's already so long.
uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the Geds here.
Thinking about those Gads.
Thinking about those Geds. Now, it's funny because when the Yeerk talks about the Geds, when he's monologuing to them, the Yeerk very much frames it as the Geds and Yeerks have co-evolved, right, on the homeworld. Yeerks have always been infesting Geds. That's just how it is. And, he says, Yeerks on our homeworld, we're peaceful, right? Not like you humans who are predators. You kill and eat the other species. We and the Geds, we infest them. But then, of course, in his memories, the Ged is like terrified and freaking out. I love the little bit of Yeerk propaganda that's coming through here, too. I think that also, in a way, almost humanizes him.
Yeah, humanizes in a negative way.
In a negative way, yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. All that stuff is pretty good.
I love that all those essences are just like in the Yeerk. This goes back to my like Yeerk's take on personalities. Like, don't you think maybe a Yeerk could be capable of love if it infested a creature that loved and then pretended to love?
I don't know. Isn't that what they're all doing right now?
I mean, I guess. But they're
it's
Visser 3's fault.
This fucking Yeerk was in his brother's head. It didn't seem to have any love for Jake.
Right. Well, they don't have families. I don't know. I don't know.
You're a fucking slug sympathizer.
I am a slug sympathizer. I love me some slugs. Slugs and taxons. Just wait till I get on my taxon defense, too.
God. Jesus Christ. You're going to join fucking petty. People,
what?
People for the ethical treatment of Yeerks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's me. That's what I'm gonna do.
Anyway, and then they have dinner, and there's a funny joke about Axe eating a bunch of chicken, right?
Yes, I mean we Jake's free. We see at home. It's sad, right? Because they're all remarking on like, you sure went crazy for the past couple days. You were eating chicken. You ate a whole pie. You were playing with words. But we don't get to see it. it sucks, right? You know, because it's like there's axe shenanigans and we hear about them secondhand. I want to see my axe shenanigans.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I still like this part, but you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
yeah.
it's fine. You made a little potatoes reference earlier here, but Axe does
Hmm.
basically say potatoes.
He
We find
does.
out,
He
yeah.
does. What's Tato's, precious?
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, you give the Yeerks a lot of shit for not for not for being really not subtle. But I feel like Jake's not, especially Axe here, is not that subtle either.
Tom should be much more suspicious of Jake
Yeah, nope.
always.
Just nobody's suspicious of anybody here. It's fine. Don't worry about
Everybody sucks at their job the same, so it's okay.
it.
All right, have we finished the book?
We basically did. There's the very end where Jake concludes by calling up Tom on the phone and saying, "Don't give up, Tom. Don't ever give up."
That's
It's our
nice,
nice
yeah.
little sweet wrap up.
And also, he does it in a fucking horrifying half wolf form to
Yeah, he's
disguise
like a
his voice.
werewolf. Yeah,
You
it's
know, because
nice.
they didn't have a voice changer. He's just like, I'll just become a
It's
freak
the
of
90s.
nature,
They don't
and
have
then
voice changer.
right, that doesn't no, they couldn't download the voice change app on their iPhones.
Right.
Okay,
So,
overall
this
thoughts on
book.
this book?
Uh
Yeah,
yeah,
you got it.
I think this book to me it feels very slow and kind of boring right up until the part where he gets infested by Yeerk and then it becomes great. Uh
Mm.
I don't know if you had the same experience, but to me, it feels like it's dragging a bit. I'm like, yeah, okay, they do an adventure. Sure, they've done a bunch of adventures. This one doesn't feel that special. And then he gets infested by Yeerk, and it's great. And I really like that part, but I do wish that I had a full book that was just this.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily feel that it was too slow. I mean, I did like the idea of the Yeerk hospital, but
Hmm.
that's pretty valid to think it was slow. But it was absolutely felt disjointed. It's very weird that the back half of the book is kind of just a subplot that becomes its own, that then becomes the plot.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is kind of two books.
it's weird. Like it would work in a longer book, but because these books are so short, it
Hmm.
feels like you said, I could have easily been entertained by an entire book of Jake Yeerk shenanigans. So I thought that was I don't know. I don't know what that was supposed to be. It felt like kind of rushed in a way, which was
Hmm.
unfortunate. But I loved all of it, but it just felt like it needed more room to breathe or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was strange, the structure of it, which is kind of there's been some maybe the biggest issue to me of these books so far is just structurally. Sometimes the pacing and stuff is a bit
Yeah.
I don't know, clunky.
Yeah, I don't that's probably going to remain at least in the main series books, although, you know, we'll see. As far as the Yerk thing goes, I do have to give some credit cuz this is the first time in the series that we've seen something written. I mean, it's very close to being written from the perspective of an alien. It's not quite, but it's very close. It's the closest we've seen yet. And I
Yeah.
think Animorphs is at its best when it's writing from the perspective of aliens, right? When we get our Alien Chronicles or our Axe books a lot of the time.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's fun stuff. I like all that. I will on the
Yeah.
subject of aliens, I do also want to say uh, I sort of feel like I kind of wish that there had been an Axe book before this book.
Hmm.
I personally am feeling at this point that Axe is sort of acclimated to this group and the group has accepted Axe pretty quickly.
Hmm.
And like there because it's not from his perspective, it feels like they very quickly moved on from like, holy shit, we have an alien now to
Yeah.
just like, yeah, we're doing missions just like books 1 through 4. And I feel like I need something to be like, whoa, like, hold on a minute. Like, let's slow down and spend some time on the fucking alien we have now. Like, it just feels like Axe is not super important. And I'm like, how is he not the most important thing? I don't know. I just wish there was more of a focus
Yeah.
on him right now.
That is fair. Like, he is being treated about the same in these books as he'll be
Yeah.
treated in book, 20.
He might as well just
Which
be
is odd.
Marco or whatever. It's just like, yeah, he's an alien too. Whatever, you
Yeah.
know.
I don't know if they were just taking their time because they weren't sure, how are we going to write the book? Like, what is it like to be Axe? Because it does take a while, right? You get, after he's introduced, there's book 5, 6, 7, and the first Megamorphs before we get an
Yeah.
Axe book. So,
Yeah. So yeah,
well,
I was kind of feeling that. I kind of wish this was an Axe book, but
well, we'll see what you think about the first
see,
Axe
that
book
could
when we
have
get
been
there.
if the hospital part was stretched out into one book, but it was from Axe's perspective, and that would maybe spice it up because it would be a little bit different, and then you get a full Jake book with the Yeerk. Like, that's a good thing.
I
Come
do
on.
want to see Axe's take on human hospitals. Like, what does he think about them? Our primitive human medicine.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Okay. Really quick pop culture.
Let's
But
do it.
also, there was so much of it.
Let's do it.
I had so many notes. Okay, here we go. Lightning round. Wheaties and milk.
Yeah.
He refers to himself mid-morph as looking sort of like the Michelin Man.
Yep.
Reference to the Indianapolis 500. They say like something from a Roadrunner cartoon.
Right. A Roadrunner cartoon, specifically that phrase.
That's sure. That's fine.
I guess,
Roach
sure.
Motel, right? That's a brand thing.
Yeah.
I believe.
Marco even paraphrases the tagline, says Jake checked in, but he couldn't check out.
Oh, I thought that was just Mark being funny. That was their actual tagline.
I'm pretty sure that's the tagline for it. I could look it up, but I'm not gonna.
Zeno, they mentioned the NBA. Ace bandages. It's a specific brand of bandage.
Yep.
Like we said, Gourmet Express and Santorini's. Of course, they mentioned that they're the 5 Musketeers, a 3 Musketeers reference. How you like that?
Yeah, 6 now.
6 now, you're right. And I've got this is a little bit of I wasn't sure. And when they're roaches, they mentioned seeing a very tall blue and white beer can. And I'm thinking, is that a Natty Light or Keystone? Is one of those a blue and white? I feel like that's a specific.
It could be. Maybe it's
brand.
just like a Budweiser. Aren't they like blue and grayish or something?
Yeah, it could be any number of beers. Now, Tobias takes Jake to the roof of a Boston market.
Yeah.
Which was later
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it changed to? I want to know. No, I want to know what it was changed to.
It was changed to just a fast food restaurant.
Oh, that sucks. Before here, they mention a Greyhound bus, and they bring up VCRs, which we had.
Oh, and VCRs, sure.
Sure. Somewhere around here, Marco mentions Letterman, too. I don't know if that...
Yes, that's my next one.
Oh, okay, that's later, okay.
When I forget what he says, but he's right. They're saying that he thinks the governor has hemorrhoids, and that's why he's being secretive about his trip to the hospital. Because if word got out, Letterman would be talking about it in his monologue.
Yeah. There's our episodic quota for Letterman.
like Letterman's famous for he's the roast master of politicians. I don't know. Spider-Man number 3. Cassie says Rachel say they need to check something in Juniors, which I guess is a store. I didn't look that up. I don't know what Juniors is.
I don't recognize it, but I guess it is.
The Fly, we mentioned both versions. Rachel says she needs a Tic Tac after she barfs. They mentioned feeling like Warp Factor 9 when they're flies, which is Star Trek. This one I had a question mark, but I believe jacuzzi is capitalized. I think that's maybe a proper noun.
I think so too.
And my last one here is Rachel or somebody says you blew Final Jeopardy to the Yeerk.
Yep, that's our pop culture for the week.
Do people like this? Who cares if you like?
I like these. I want to know. I want a little record.
How are they getting longer? I mean, it's probably my fault, but I don't know. Something. They're too fucking long.
We're getting too comfortable is the problem.
Listen, if you like, just please tell us if you like this. Let us know what you like. Email us at theyeerkyboys@gmail.com and follow us on Twitter at theyeerkyboys. And you can follow me at Quence on Twitter or find my personal projects like my other podcast too, which is much shorter than this one at jonathanestis.com.
And if you want to find me online, you can find me at dogtimesmcgee at twitter.com.
Well, I
And
think we did that.
I think that's it. Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be discussing Book 7, The Stranger, in which Rachel turns into a bear on the Yeerky Boys.